The following matters will come before the Revere License Commission at our regularly scheduled meeting today. The first order of business will be the approval of minutes of the November 18, 2017 meeting. Is there a motion to approve those minutes? I will make a motion to approve the minutes. Do I hear a second?
I'll second.
The minutes have been approved. The next items for consideration are applications submitted for consideration. Item number 1, the City of Revere, Broadway, Charles Giuffrida is the contract. This is an application for a special one-day license for a malt wine, common victular, and entertainment license. The application for the City of Revere for a special one-day license to be exercised on Broadway between Park Avenue and Beach Street from 12 p.m. until 6 p.m. on Saturday, September 8, 2018, with a rain date of Sunday, September 9th, 2018, for a fall festival. The common victular to consist of food trucks, the malt wine to be contained within the lawn area of 249 Broadway, which is the American Legion building. Is there someone to speak on behalf of the application? Your name and address for the record, please, sir.
Yes, sir. Charles Giuffrida, 770 Washington Ave, Revere, Mass. And I'm representing the Parks and Rec Department at 150 Beach Street.
Very good. You had this the second year for this event. Can you explain a little bit about the event?
Yes, sir. We launched the first one last year. Had a lot of success with it. No real incidents, and decided to continue the event for this year as well. We are scaling it back a little bit. Instead of having it at Park Ave, we're going to bring it down to Winthrop Ave, corner of Winthrop and Broadway. Other than that, pretty much the same as last year. I believe some of you may have been in attendance, but just in case, for the record, we have a entertainment area behind City Hall, strictly for family. In front of City Hall, along Broadway, we set up vendor areas for people to sell or promote organizations on the street. And at the American Legion, we had live entertainment as well as a beer garden on the premises.
Do any of my fellow commissioners have any questions?
No, I have no questions. I attended it last year. Great. And as long as the beer stays in the same area, the alcoholic beverages. It was a great event for the city. I have no questions.
Very glad to hear that.
Yeah, I have no questions either.
Charles, I just have one question. Last year, the only issue that I saw really was in the fenced-in area was maintaining control of that area as people were exiting with the alcohol. Can we focus on that a little bit more this year and have someone designated for that spot? Because that was a problem last year, I thought.
Yes, you and I spoke during the event, and what in the medium wrap-up, our exit interviews, I think what seemed to be the issue was there was a shift change, and the officers were sort of in a 20-minute window. But we've met with Chief Guido, we've rectified that, and we're feeling confident that that beer garden will be monitored the entire time.
So. Great. Well, it's a great event, and good luck with it.
Thank you, sir. Appreciate that.
Is there a motion? Oh, I'm sorry. Thank you very much. Are there any proponents to this hearing? And seeing none, I will close that section of the meeting. Are there any opponents to this? I hear and see none. I will close that section of the meeting. Do I have a motion?
I'll make a motion to approve.
I'll second the motion.
The motion is approved for a one-day, special one-day license for a malt wine, common victular, and entertainment license to be granted at the City of Revere between Winthrop Avenue and Beach Street from 12 p.m. until 6 p.m. on Saturday, September 8, 2018, with a rain date of Sunday, September 9, 2018, for the Fall Festival. The common victular will have food trucks, the malt and wine to be contained within the lawn area of 249 Broadway. Thank you very much. Item number 2, Comunidad Evangelica Internacional de Zona Sul, Boston, 72 Squire Road. Arthur Oliveira is the contact. This is a application for a special one-day license for common victular and entertainment. the application of Comunidad Evangelica Internacional de Zona Sul, Boston, for a special one-day license to be exercised in the parking lot at 72 Squire Road from 11 a.m. until 5 p.m. on Saturday, June 23rd, 2018, for a family-oriented event. The entertainment to consist of bounce houses, face painting for children, as well as a DJ. Your name and address for the record, please, sir?
Hi, my name is Arthur Oliveira. I'm over at 109 St. Andrew Road in East Boston, Massachusetts.
And can you explain a little bit about what your intentions are for this, please?
Absolutely, yes. Absolutely. So we go by SAYS, just for an abbreviation of the long name that you pronounce so well. But SAYS Boston is the name of the church. We're a Christian church. And we're looking to do an event for the families at the church and also the surrounding area as well, the family of our neighbors. It's going to be a family event, free, covered, nothing. We're not selling anything. We're not covering any charge for people to enter. It's just going to be food, which the members will bring in, like, rice, salads, and so forth. We were planning on doing a charcoal grill as well to do skewers on site. We spoke to the Revere Fire Chief about that, and he approved it as far as his concerns go. And then we're going to have bounce houses for the children. There's going to be 2 separate bounce houses, one for the younger kids, one for the older kids, and then face painting as well, and some other activities for the children.
Okay, very good. And so is the food going to be prepared on the premises and brought there, or,
No.
off premises?
Food will be prepared off premises. The only food that will be made on premises will be the barbecue skewers.
Very good. Do any of my fellow
I just have a
commissioners?
couple of questions. Where were you going to put the grill? Where would the grill be located to cook?
So the grill would be, we have the parking lot to hardtop. The grill would be on the hardtop about 10 feet away from the building. I have it all, we have it sketched out here if you would like to see that as well.
I'm just concerned because you do abut private property on
Sure.
the side of the building there.
Yeah,
There is a 2-family there, so I just don't want it right next to their home,
no, it won't be. It's going to be 10 feet away from our building and at least 20 feet away from their building, which is right to our left. So.
which would be to the left, okay?
Exactly, and then we're going to set up a perimeter on front of the grill, not directly above it, but a few feet in front of it. We're going to put a tent, and then we're planning on putting a perimeter with like caution tape so that nobody approaches the grill as well, other than the people who will be preparing the food.
How many people do you think you'll be expecting?
We're expecting about 50,
About 50?
50 to 75, yeah.
Oh, okay. That's
We're
not
going to have seating for 50.
And it's families, family with children with,
That's right.
nothing you need detail for, and there's no alcohol, obviously. It's
No
just soda
alcohol.
and juice.
Yep, soda, juice, water, food, mostly for families, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
So my
family
only,
and the members of the church.
okay, so my only concern would be that barbecue, just to be respectful to the neighbors when you are barbecuing.
No,
'Cause
absolutely.
barbecuing for 50 people is going to be a lot of cooking.
It's going to be a lot of skewers. Yeah, we're
Yes.
preparing for it. The barbecue was one of our bigger concerns as well, so we put a lot of detail into that just to make sure that we set up a perimeter where people won't be approaching the grill directly either to get their food. We're going to
Yes.
have everything set up away from the grill. The people who are cooking it will bring it to that area to be served.
Okay, thank you. I have no other questions.
This works. Yeah, the only question I have is more for safety reasons.
Sure.
Looking at the schematic, your blueprint here, how close to the highway are these, the kids' tables?
Yeah, so we updated the sketch because before we had 3 bounce houses and one of them was on that same side where the kids' table was. We actually removed one of the bounce houses to do only 2 kids' table. It's about 93 feet, that area where it leads to the highway from the furthest point into our property. And it's going to be 9 by 20 tents. So 2 tents totaling a 40-foot length where the kids' area will be. And that's going to be furthest to the left away from the highway. So it'll leave about 50 feet.
50 feet from the sidewalk?
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah, because that, on a Saturday, that Squire Road's crazy.
I'm aware, yeah.
And even temporary horses or something, because a little kid jets across there, chases a ball.
Yeah, so planning on putting those the cones, a little bit of the taller ones with the caution tape, and then we're gonna have volunteers as well. We plan on leaving at least 3 volunteers by the road at all times, just to make sure that no little kid crosses where they shouldn't be.
I just have a couple quick questions. I'm looking at the diagram that you submitted, and it shows that you have the kids' stuff around the outside of the perimeter here, and then you go with the bounce houses along the back, with the barbecue in the right-hand corner, and then the food table in front. And then in the middle, you have tables. I'm curious as to, I don't know where the cars are going to park. I don't see any place for cars to park.
So yeah, there's not gonna be any cars inside of the parking lot.
Okay, so you have exits and entrances. Are those not going to be utilized, or?
No, those won't be utilized. That was just the sketch of how the parking lot is currently.
Okay, so where do you see the people at this event parking?
I see them parking on the street, not on Squire because it doesn't take parking, but mostly on Patriots. Is it Patriot Boulevard, I believe, the next street over? Patriots Parkway.
That's kind of a residential area. It doesn't seem as if you've really thought out the parking aspect of this very well.
Yeah, I mean, we have our neighbor next to there too, and for previous events, we've only done one other event. For previous events, we used his parking as well. His building is for rent, so he doesn't use any of his parking lot. So we were planning on doing that for parking and Patriots Parkway as well.
And if people are going to go to the event, are you going to have people dropping off and picking up in front of the church? Is that part of the plan? I mean, I'm...
As far as like a shuttle service goes?
Well, I guess if I wanted to take my child to this thing, would I drive into the parking lot? Would I drop them off in front of it on Squire Road? Would I have to park around the corner and walk them back to it? What do you envision happening?
We had envisioned just people, so we were doing it for the members. We envisioned both members and the community. We envisioned the members doing, parking in the neighbor's property. We envisioned the people from the community, since they already lived there, they would have walked, and the people who parked on Patriots to park there and then walk. We didn't think of doing like a drop-off zone, maybe like an area where inside of our property, people can drop off and then safely get back onto the highway. We hadn't really envisioned anything like that, but we could definitely accommodate something like that.
Well, I'm just a little concerned about the parking situation and the access and egress. So, I mean, I don't know how other commissioners.
I'm very concerned, I'm glad that it was brought up, because that area, you're talking to Sunday, those people live there, it's highly residential, the Parkway. I just don't see how you're gonna work this out with cars. Even the drop-off is quite dangerous on Squire Road, to just pull up and let kids out and,
Yeah,
well,
if we were
and as
gonna do
far
a
as
drop-off, it would be into the property.
as far as next door, I've noticed next door, they have limousines in there right now and big signs, and I know it's for sale. But have you spoke with him at all to arrange anything, and that he will take those out?
About this event in particular, we haven't. In previous events, and we do it vice versa, when he had something there a few months ago and he used our parking lot. But for previous events, he moved all his cars out. He has like a grass area behind it. That's where he put the limousines. I think most of them are gone now. It's for sale. He does have some big signs there still, so we would have to figure that out
We
with
would
him.
have to move those. I wish you had come up with some permission from them so that we would be comfortable,
Yeah.
knowing that I didn't even realize about the parking till I saw the sketch here, that you're really utilizing your whole parking lot.
Yeah, we do plan on utilizing the whole parking lot.
Now, can you tell me, I don't know if you can answer that, most of the parishioners, are they local, or?
A good amount of them are, yes. Revere, so I mean, most of them are from Revere. I myself am from East Boston, but it really is between those two cities right now. I think we have one family from Medford. We're a fairly small church right now. We just inaugurated in August, so.
Yes.
As far as members go, we're very small, and most of the members we do have, we acquired in Revere.
I think I can speak for my fellow commissioners. We want to be supportive of local church organizations and community groups, because we think they do great work for the community, and I'm sure this would be a great event. However, public safety is one of our paramount concerns, and so, to be honest, I don't really feel comfortable with this plan as it's currently constituted. If you want to take some time and work out some kind of a parking situation which addresses some of this stuff, and then come back and try and, see if we can work with that. I would recommend something like that, because, to be honest, if we were to vote on something right now, I'm not sure I could in good conscience vote for that. And as much as I want to be a supporter of the church program and community service organizations, there is a public safety issue that has to be taken into concern.
I absolutely understand.
Right.
Okay.
I'm very happy we addressed this. I mean, I'm not against approving it if, before then, you would bring us some kind of letter from the abutter that will let you put the cars in his lot
Sure.
and emptied. We all drive by there, and we do see that. I think it's a rug dealer right now, I'm not sure what it is, but it's usually quite full with whether it be advertising, limousines,
Yeah,
cars. So I wouldn't have a problem if you could bring us something in writing
Sure.
that you have parking, but again, I have to say that I think that would really be taxing on the neighborhood on the weekend to take up their parking on Parkway. And actually, if you go down that Parkway, there's not even parking in the middle, we have an island there.
Yeah.
So you would be parking right at their doorstep. So I'd like to see some kind of arrangement for parking
Sure.
before I could go along with it.
I think we have the owner of the property here, so if we could hear from him.
Yeah. Hey, Jamie.
Jamie Russo, 1040 North Shore Road. I had spoken to the pastor of the church last week regarding this. We never kind of followed back up. We also manage and own the property 2 over from the one that he's talking about, and we'd be willing to give him a 1-day lease for parking. It holds about 20-some-odd cars behind where Dominic Bocchino's insurance is.
Okay.
So that would, rather than to have, and if you want to continue it or a conditional approval prior to us, we would write him a 1-day lease for that parking lot.
Well, so what you're saying is that you would allow him to use the facility behind the
106
insurance?
Squire Road.
And
Yes.
that would hold about 20 cars?
22 cars or something like that.
I mean, I would feel comfortable with that arrangement if my fellow commissioners would.
I'll be fine, as long as you can tell me that they're not gonna inundate the neighborhood. So if they
Absolutely. I mean,
can use this
I can give you
spot-
22 spaces. I can't give you more than that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that would probably be as much as we could hope to get. So with that being said, provided that is the arrangement, and I'm willing to accept his word on that is.
I don't need it in writing if you're the owner of the property and you're
Absolutely,
giving
I
them
would-
permission. So if
Absolutely.
we were to drive by, we're gonna see your lot's gonna be full.
Absolutely.
So 50 people, you're probably only gonna get maybe 25 cars, most of them are children, you said.
Exactly.
So I would be comfortable with
And a lot
that.
of the people do live close enough that they were planning on walking,
Okay.
at least the members.
Very good. All right. Well, thank you very much. Thank you
Thank you,
very much.
Commissioner. Thank you.
I will close that section of the meeting. Are there any proponents out there? Any other proponents? Hearing and seeing none, I will close that section. Are there any opponents? Anybody opposed? Hearing and seeing none, I will close that. Is there a motion to,
I'll make a motion to approve with the parking from the landlord said that he's more than willing to give you 22 parking spots.
Thank you.
I'll second that motion.
it's unanimous, the application for a special one-day license for common victular and entertainment for the Comunidad Evangelica Internacional de Zona Sul, Boston, for a special one-day license for common victular and entertainment to be exercised in the parking lot at 72 Squire Road from 11 a.m. to 5 p.m. on Saturday, June 23rd, 2018, for a family-oriented event. The entertainment will consist of bounce houses, face painting for children, as well as a DJ. Thank you very much, sir.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Item number 3, Suffolk Diner LLC, DBA Airport Diner at Suffolk Downs, 10 Furlong Drive. Deanna Sepulveda is the manager. This is an application for an extension of hours of a common victualer's license, a one-day extension of hours. The application of Suffolk Diner, DBA Airport Diner at Suffolk Downs, for a one-day extension of hours for a common victualer's license to be exercised at 3 a.m. on the morning of Monday, May 28th, 2018. Your name and address for the record, please.
Yes, it's Deanna Sepulveda. My address is 666 Saratoga Street in East Boston.
Very good. And what is your intentions for this license?
So on this night, May 28th, there is a big concert going on in Wonderland. And we've heard a lot from our guests, our customers. We have family members and different people coming into this concert. So we figured it was a good opportunity for us to sell our food, to promote it, as these concerts do end around 1 or 2 in the morning. So we started doing it back in November. We started opening nights again. And Fridays and Saturday nights, we're open until 4 in the morning, as we have a 24-hour license. It's been a big hit. We do get a lot of clientele roughly around that time. It's not always so crazy packed, but we do get a lot of business from after the bars and after people come in late at night. So we figured, and we kind of just talked among us, that it would be a good opportunity for us to, and a lot of our clientele as well has mentioned if we could maybe we'll be open on that night, that we would also do good on that night. So that was our intention.
Very good. Do any of my fellow commissioners have any questions?
I personally, 3 in the morning, I'm one of those.
I was thinking
that
more
like-
2. I don't know 3 maybe, but it was 2.
This at 3, okay.
Yeah, it was 2.
So
not
I'm
3.
very concerned at that. You're saying they're coming from a concert. Obviously, they've had a wonderful evening, and now to drive through the streets and, go to... I would really like to hear from Lieutenant Randall as to what he thinks about something like that, extending the hours after a party at the Lido. Have we ever had an issue with...
I mean, there's plenty of opportunities of other places they can drive to go out, to go to eat at that time, so I don't think that one more really makes that much of a difference, but.
Yeah, we really haven't had, although you're saying 2 o'clock, I was reading 3 o'clock.
No,
so
it's
that's
2,
okay.
yeah. Maybe there's a misunderstanding, but it was
Do you only
technically
want
2.
this till 2 o'clock?
Yes, not 3, just
Well,
2.
that's a difference, because I'm looking
Yes.
at 3 o'clock. I don't think I personally could go along with a 3 o'clock license, obviously.
Yeah,
I think people know how, I
yeah,
have voted in the
usually
past.
those are concerts and around
they
1:30 to 2.
requested extension to close at 3 a.m. That's what I have.
Yeah, that's what I had too, but I
Okay.
just changed it on this, so
So
when I
we
read
would
it.
have-
Yeah, it's 2,
We would
it's
have
not
to
3.
change, that makes a big difference. Now,
Okay.
3 o'clock, I don't think we need people going out here at 3 and then driving through our streets at 4 or 5 in the morning. So this event, what are you going to be serving at this, your regular
So we do fast
menu?
food on our nights. Our menu's a little different. It's more like fast food. We have burgers, hot dogs. We have different things. We do have a little bit of breakfast as well. And then we just started selling juices, so different type of sodas and things like that. But we'll be offering our same night menu, the one that we offer throughout the week as well, and the weekends.
I just had a friend go there and eat, and they said the food was wonderful.
Good.
So I haven't been there, but they said that the food is very good.
Well, you should visit us whenever you can.
Yeah,
You're welcome to
those
have
are the
you.
only questions I had.
Do you have any questions,
3 o'clock.
Commissioner?
No questions. So you do open 24 on, what, Friday, Saturday, Sunday?
No, so we're only doing until 4 in the morning on Friday nights and Saturday nights.
Okay, this is 24.
It's 24 hours, yeah, Friday night and Saturday night. And
Okay.
then we close around 10 on Sunday nights.
Yeah, I have no problem extending it for that one night. I have no issues.
Okay,
Very good. Thank you very much.
thank you.
I'll close that section. Are there any proponents? Anyone in favor? Hearing and seeing none, I will close that section. Are there any opponents? Anybody opposed? Hearing and seeing none, I will close that section. Is there a motion to approve?
Sure. I'll make a motion to approve the one extension to 2 a.m.
I'll second the motion. Good
Okay,
luck.
thank you.
The motion is approved for the application for a one-day extension of hours of a common victualer's license for the Suffolk Diner LLC. The one-day extension will be exercised at 10 Furlong Drive. The requested extension is to close at 2 a.m. on the morning of Monday, May 28th, 2018. Item number 4. This is a application for a change of DBA. The application of Wonderland Entertainment LLC DBA Oceanside Event Center, Charles Del Pidio, manager, for a change of DBA from Wonderland.
How you doing?
Name and address for the record, please, sir.
Charles Del Pidio, 28 Cornerstone Drive, Northeastern Massachusetts.
Very good, sir. And can you explain to us what this change is about, and if this is a change in the business model for the operation?
Well, we're going to be going after more things now. We're going after weddings. As a matter of fact, I just got off the phone just before I came here with shows like, I don't know if you saw Sal Valentiani, who was on the America's Got Talent. I'm going to book him tomorrow. And we're going to go after more things to become a total event center and not just concerts.
Very good. Do any of my fellow commissioners have any questions?
Well, I have questions, obviously. You have, how many rooms are in there now?
3.
There are 3 rooms.
Mhm.
So I know you have special nights for special events. Are you talking all 3 rooms are going to be changed to
No,
weddings
really.
and more of?
The events that we're probably going to be doing will be in the main room, but if there's an event that isn't big enough for the main room, we'll go up to the second room, because each room has different prices on it too.
Right.
Yes.
But all 3 will still be working. I mean, you're not doing any remodeling to make this a one-room,
No.
so you could have as many as 3 different rooms working at the same time.
Yes, that's very, very seldom that happens. But we really want to reach out and really make the place something that Revere will be proud of.
What it used to be.
Well, I
We
think
had many weddings there. I think we had, Saturday nights was dancing, ballroom dancing. It was wonderful. And they had some great times there, and then of course, with the times,
I know,
things
I just
change.
put in for an order of 800 chairs and tables, and because there's a lot of events that I'm going to do now that will be sit-down. That, you know, it'll be maybe a little bit of an older crowd, like myself. I'm a senior citizen.
Well, it would be nice. It would be
Yeah.
nice for,
Yeah.
middle-aged people to have a place
And
to
you
go.
know, we came here about 1.5 years ago, maybe even 2 years ago with you folks, and I told you that I would turn it around, and I believe I have. And there's so many things that I do there that people come there, and I say, no, I'm not going to do that. I know what this board wants. I know what we need to do. And I've been around the block many times, and I know how to work with the board, and we will do that throughout our career at Wonderland.
Well, I would look forward to a change, so I
Yeah.
hope it happens.
Yeah, thank you.
I have no other questions.
So, yeah, I think it's a good start, with the name change.
Yeah.
Perception is, a little more, of an event center versus a specific,
Yes,
venue. So
absolutely.
I think it's a good thing, proof will be in the pudding, once you get these things started, but I have no concerns or
Thank you.
issues with the name change.
Appreciate it.
Thank you. I don't have any issues as well with the name change or the change in whatever you want to do with your business is perfectly fine. There were some questions, though, that came up regarding some incidents that have occurred recently in the parking lot. Do you know what I'm referring to?
I do
The
know.
MBTA police actually contacted.
Yes, I do know what you're talking about, and again, I'm going to say, over the last 1.5 to 2 years that before I took over down there, there was things that weren't right.
Mhm.
But since then, in and out of those doors, probably been 100,000 people since then. And as a matter of fact, Sean Conway, who is the detective for the MBTA, told me that these 2 people have a history of domestic violence. And this is not the first time with these 2 people.
I wouldn't
So-
think so.
So we're kind of caught by that. But whether it was here...
Well, the thing that was concerning was that in his letter, he referenced several incidents. I mean, I don't know, and to be honest, checking them, you can't really tell because the Revere police don't don't take those reports. Those reports are done by the MBTA. So it's a little hard to get a handle on exactly what several means and what they're talking about.
Yeah, yeah.
But I
no.
guess what the real crux of the matter would be is that to have someone on your staff at least look into the parking lot and address that situation so that, you know, at least the MBTA is comfortable that people aren't getting beat up in the parking lot.
And they're really not.
I understand that, but
But on the other side of the coin, the question is, okay, we had an incident, it did happen, what are we gonna do about it? And you know what? I'm putting a plan together with my management. We're gonna have people outside more, and that's really the issue. Something happened, okay, but what are you gonna do about it? And that's
Exactly.
exactly what I'm gonna
well, I
take care of.
appreciate that, and thank you very much for that.
Do you
Thank you.
have surveillance cameras in the parking lot?
I don't know, do we? No,
No surveillance cameras.
no.
Do you have them on the premises themselves?
Inside.
Inside, and do they
Yes.
record? I have no further questions.
I have no
Yes,
questions.
Lieutenant.
I'd just like to say that the Revere Police Department, as well as the MBTA Police Department, is requesting and recommending that the club hire 2 MBTA police officers on nights that we have details there to work in the parking lot.
I have not spoken to anybody from the MBTA right now, but we also have, every night that we're open, we have 2 policemen and a fireman, and to add 2 more would be 5, and that's really kind of heavy on the pocketbook on that one. But I would love to talk to the MBTA, sit down with them and see if we can come up with a plan. I mean, just to throw it out there and say, you know, we'll put 2 more on, it's kind of heavy.
Well, if you'd like to see me after the meeting, I can give you the name of the officer who sent us the letter regarding this thing, and you're more than welcome to contact him and
Sure.
see if you can work something out with him that is
Be more than happy to.
very good.
I think it would be great with the police department, maybe someone from the police department also being present at that meeting.
I'm sorry, I didn't hear you.
We have a Revere police officer there also at the meeting, so that everybody's on the same page and knows exactly, you know, I understand these things happen, it's the nature of the business, but we're here to help you.
To have
also. We don't wanna
5
see-
details,
That sounds, you know,
That's
but
pretty
there may be a situation where you can
you
move it
know,
a
if
little
the
bit here.
MBTA wants to help and pay this, that's fine. I mean, I fill up their parking lot every time we have it. You know, we put hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of cars. If you look over the last year, how much money we've put in there, and then say, all right, well, we want you now to put it in there, I think it's a little heavy. And without even speaking to the MBTA, Lieutenant, I haven't spoken to anybody yet.
Well, I think that if you sit down and you can talk it out, maybe it'd be nice where your 3 rooms are filled. I think you definitely will need the extra. There might be certain venue that you have that they would want to, but I think that should go through the Revere Police Department, not me. I don't.
We've been right there with the Revere Police Department the whole way. Would you say so, Lieutenant? That we've been working with you guys as much as possible?
Yes, yeah, historically, they've worked with the police department, hopefully they will continue to.
Absolutely. I mean, we're not trying to pull any punches with anybody. Thank
Very
you.
good. I have no further questions. Anybody else?
I have no further questions.
No questions.
All right, guys.
Very good. Thank you
much.
very much. We'll close that section of the hearing. Are there any proponents? Hearing and seeing none, we'll close that section. Are there any opponents? No one opposed. We'll close that section. Is there a motion?
I'll make a motion to approve the change of DBA.
I'll second the motion.
Thank you.
The unanimous, the application of change of DBA of Wonderland Entertainment LLC, DBA Oceanside Event Center, Charles Del Pidio, manager. The name will be changed from Wonderland.
Thank you so much.
Thank you very much, sir.
Appreciate
Appreciate
it.
it. Thank you. Item number 5. This is Beach Hospitality LLC, DBA Marcos Tacos, 320 Revere Beach Boulevard. Bradley Goljewski, manager. This is an application for a change of seating. the application of Beach Hospitality LLC, DBA Marcos Tacos, Bradley Jeldowski, manager, for a change of seating to 96 inside, 10 outside. Current seating is 47 inside and 10 outside.
I think there was a question about the seating, was
Yeah,
it
the correction is going to
71?
be to 71 seats.
Yeah, I think we're going to
So
change.
you want to change the,
Yes, on the floor plan.
you want to go with the
earlier,
floor plan that you submitted?
It has 71 in there.
Yes, it does. Very good.
That's what we had originally. You can always come back, but I think that was your original floor plan, was
Yeah.
the 71. And it's about time. It's 2 years you've been working on this?
It's been a long time.
It's a very dark corner down there. Be nice to see it lit up.
Hopefully soon.
All right, sir, so I have your floor plan, and I see that you want seating for 71.
Yes, please. Yes.
Are there any questions?
Well, I mean, just for the viewing audience, what's going to go there?
It's going to be, Mexican-style tacos, appetizers, and then just the family-style dining with
Family.
full bar.
And you're going to have outdoor seating,
Yes, 10 seats.
10 seats, or,
Yes,
oh, 10 seats?
10 seats. That's what we were zoned for the
Oh,
10
no
seats
tables,
outside.
okay. No, I have no question. I've been going by it for 2 years and just waiting to see what's going there.
Very soon.
So I think it's, hopefully it'll be a nice addition. I guess this is right next to Bianchi's?
Yes.
Is that right on the corner there?
Yep.
Okay. No, I have no questions.
For entertainment, are you having, what is the entertainment?
Jukebox, would be a jukebox style.
Just a jukebox?
Yep, potential live entertainment, we can get the bookings in there.
Oh, so you're going to be a live entertainment at times?
Potentially on Friday, Saturday nights, yes.
Okay. Have that been,
Yeah, we were approved for that.
that's approved
Exactly.
already? It's been a
Yep.
while, so I don't remember.
Yes.
Is parking in the back?
Yep,
Okay. Okay. So tacos,
tacos.
just tacos.
Mexican-style restaurant, so it's going to be the appetizer. You'll have some nachos. in there.
Burritos?
Yeah,
All that stuff.
you have the rice, the salsa, everything to go along with it.
Okay.
Now-
Looking forward to checking it out.
I just heard, I don't know if this is true. Is this the same tacos that's at Fenway Park?
Not that I know of.
No, he doesn't have the restaurant at Fenway Park?
Not at Fenway, no.
No. Okay, because I ran into someone, they said, I'm opening it at the beach, and you've never been to my taco. It's at Fenway Park. I said, no, I didn't know there was one there anyways.
Okay, great. So you planning to open the season?
Couple weeks.
Very good. I don't have any questions or issues. Does anyone have?
One last question. Is it all dine-in or is it takeout as well?
We can do takeout.
Oh, the takeout,
Yeah.
okay.
Very good. Thank you very much, sir. Are there any proponents? Hearing and seeing none, I will close that part of the meeting. Are there any opponents? Hearing and seeing none, I will close that part of the meeting. Is there a motion to approve?
I'll make a motion to approve.
I'll second the
And
motion.
that's for the 71 seats.
71.
Okay.
I'll second that motion.
Very good. The application for a change of seating is approved. The application of Beach Hospitality LLC, DBA Marcos Tacos with Bradley Geljewski, manager, for a change of seating to 71 inside and 10 outside. Thank you very much, sir.
Thank you.
Item number 6, Smart Buy Auto Group Inc., DBA Smart Buy USA, 1107 North Shore Road, Maria Colometta, owner. This is an application for a transfer of a Class II motor vehicle dealer license from JP's Auto Sales LLC, said license to be exercised at 1107 North Shore Road. Maximum number of cars for sale on lot to be 17. This item was continued from our April meeting. Your name and address for the record, please.
Maria Colometta, 36 Village Road in Middleton.
Very good. And when we continued this last time, you did not have the proper sign-offs and things like that? Do we have those on? Very good. I think that's
Why am I looking at
my
this?
questions. Yes, do you, are there any other questions from the fellow commissioners?
Well, the seller owns the personal property taxes, not the owner, the new.
The previous business owner, yeah.
I think before we can act on this transfer, sir, it seems to be an issue regarding personal property tax, a non-payment of a personal property tax to the city. And before the license can be transferred, we would need that to be taken care of.
Can I pay it today?
Yeah, I mean, I don't have a problem with that,
We can
sure.
go
if
and
you-
pay it, and we can put it at the
We
end
can
of the
put it at the
meeting.
end of the meeting. Very good. All right, we'll continue it to the end of the meeting. Thank you very much. Item number 7, Shadia LLC, DBA Wraps on the Beach, 425 Revere Beach Boulevard. Shahir Abdel Hadi, manager. This is an application for a transfer of a common victuals license. The application of Shadia LLC, DBA Wraps on the Beach, for a transfer of a common victuals license from RDG Martone, Inc., said license to be exercised at 425 Revere Beach Boulevard. The requested seating is to remain at 15, and the requested hours of operation are to be 6 a.m. to 2 a.m. And your name and address for the record, please.
My name is Rosie Martone. I was the owner of Figaro's, and I'm transferring the license over to Sam here.
Very good. And your name, sir?
My name is Sam Abdel, Sahar Abdel Hadi. My address is 1124 Madison Place, Southborough, Mass. 01772.
Very good, sir. And can you tell me a little bit about what your plans are for this location?
Sure. Actually, what we are looking to do is something very simple, like nice takeout food and something unique, like to have on the beach.
Mediterranean food, focus on Middle Eastern,
International.
bowls, plates, stuff that people can really enjoy on the beach and at the same time is very accessible. Doing business there for 5 years, I was able to really see what worked and what didn't. And also, the reason why he asked for such extended hours is because he wants the ability to be able to operate for breakfast and lunch and dinner as well. The problem with us was that there was never really a way to figure out exactly what hours to be open. So I think that by having those hours available to him, he can figure that out while he's doing business there.
Yeah, that makes sense. Very good. And sir, you have previous experience in the restaurant business?
Yes, I do.
And where was your prior restaurant?
I had a pizza place and a Mexican place, a Mexican restaurant also, a pizza restaurant right inside the Green Day Mall in Worcester, Mass. A Mexican restaurant right inside the Auburn Mall in the Worcester area.
Very good. Do any of my fellow commissioners have any questions?
No, I really, I hate to see you leave.
Oh, thank you.
It was a great place,
No, she's gonna
you
stick
know.
around anyway.
Thank you.
And I
Well,
like-
you know what? We just figured out we loved Revere. It was more so, it's just my brother and I. We
Right.
don't have a corporation of people helping us at this stage. So we found it difficult to be able to run our operation in Boston and be able to successfully run our operation the way that we really wanted to in Revere. So it just made sense for us to focus on Boston at this stage. Doesn't mean you won't see us in the future. It just means that right now, him and I, just doing everything ourselves, we need to keep it contained and centrally focused. And we've learned so much in the last 5 years. We met some very wonderful people, and believe me, we'll miss you as well.
Well, you did a great job down
Thank
there.
you.
I was glad to see you on the
Thank you.
beach, and I hope it continues.
It
because
will.
We'll follow her footsteps.
I'll be consulting as a friend.
Exactly, she'll be around.
I will definitely be consulting him in terms of menu, and he's got a great chef who's also female. So she's got some really great plans in the works, and I think you guys are really gonna see something that's gonna stay, hopefully for the 5 years that we were there, and even more so, because you have so many people now coming into the beach, and I think that this will be definitely the longer hours, the earlier mornings, that's what people are looking for. So Sam's got the time to do it, he's got great staff ready to go in, and we feel very confident for
Now,
it.
Sam, will this be your only business? Or do you have another?
I have
Place.
other businesses actually, yes, but this is gonna, I mean, I like this business more than the others. Let's put it this way. I just enjoy the beach more than any all my other businesses.
And he has
Plus, I have
people
some
running it
businesses
as well, there'll be an actual staff of people as well as a manager or chef, so.
Oh, there's a crew ready to take over,
Right.
To take
to
over?
operate, yes.
Okay, I just don't want to, if you have another restaurant, again, split your time.
No, I don't have another restaurant, no. This is gonna
Oh,
be
it's
my
just something
only
else.
restaurant right now. Correct.
This will be your only restaurant.
Restaurants are fun.
Yeah, you know, Revere Beach is in the top 10 beaches.
That is correct. It's a
And, you know,
destination.
we want to keep it, this board is working very hard to keep it that way. We just want to
Absolutely.
move it forward, you know.
Absolutely.
We hope so.
So I have no other questions.
Thank you. Do you have any questions?
No, it sounds like you got a lot of energy. God bless you, coming from Southborough. You know,
My businesses are in Worcester, in the Worcester area, so I know exactly
Yeah.
what we're trying to say, like it's gonna be like quite a distance.
Yeah.
It's still, but I
So-
enjoy this area more than the other places.
well, we should be driving off hours, so.
Yeah.
But all the inspectional services are up to date, so I think there's no issues on my end. Okay.
Very good. Well, good luck, you know, having, I've had a place on the business, I had a place on the beach for about 7 years, so I know the food business on the beach is a tough racket, so good luck.
Thank you so much, thank you.
Is there a motion to approve? Oh, I'm sorry, I'm rushing this thing right along. I'll close this section of the hearing. Are there any proponents out there? Hearing and seeing none, I will close that section of the meeting. Are there any opponents out there? Anybody opposed? Hearing and seeing none, I will close that section. Is there a motion?
I'll make a motion to approve.
I'll second that motion.
The motion is
Good luck.
approved. The application for a transfer of a common victualer's license of Shadia LLC, DBA Wraps on the Beach, for a transfer of the common victualer's license from RDG Martone, Inc. Said license is to be exercised at 425 Revere Beach Boulevard. The requested seating is to remain at 15. The requested hours of operation are to be 6 a.m. until 2 a.m.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Good
Have a
luck.
night.
Excuse me, the next item, item number 8, SE North Shore Inc., DBA 711-27471C. This is an application of a transfer for a malt wine package store and common victualer's license. The application of SE North Shore Inc., DBA 711-27471C, 1120 North Shore Road. Hiren Patel, manager, to transfer a malt wine package store license and a common victualer's license from Virpul Patel. Said license to be exercised at the same address. The hours of alcoholic sales to be Sunday, 10 a.m. to 11 p.m., Monday through Saturday, 8 a.m. through 11 p.m. The hours of food sales are to be 24 hours. There is no seating. Yes, sir, your name and address, please?
Hiren Patel, 400 Trade Center, Woburn, Massachusetts.
Very good. And would you tell us a little bit about this transfer? What you-
Sure. So we're doing a change of ownership. The current owner has been there for a little over 20 years. He's getting a little bit older and is looking to get out of the 7-Eleven business. So we made a deal with him to purchase. We're in the process of closing on the deal. Part of the transacting this changeover is the transfer of the alcohol license that's existing in there.
Very good. Do any of my fellow commissioners have any questions?
Do we have any paperwork? I don't have paperwork for this. Do we have paperwork that, from the present owner? Is someone here that,
I work for the company,
No, who's the present owner? Who holds the license now? Is he here?
Vipul Patel, he's not here. I think he had an emergency, so he said he wouldn't be able to make it today.
He's not here.
No.
Um, Do we have an affidavit? I don't have the paperwork. Because I like both parties here.
Sure.
I happen to know the people that own that business.
Okay.
And I guess back about a month ago, there may have been a little waiting for this to go through because something was holding it up on their part.
Yeah, I think they've been working on, we've been working with 7-Eleven to do a little bit of construction renovation and inside to, I know that that was delaying it a little bit.
Yeah. I really do like when they're here.
Yeah.
I am not going to
So-
vote on, when I don't have two parties here. I think I've
So-
stated that before. I had questions for the other party. I was waiting for this to come up. I expected it a couple of months ago, and it didn't
It didn't
go
come on the
through
agenda.
for whatever
Yeah.
reason.
So this is Mark Keller. He's actually like the president of operations for northern part of Massachusetts. He manages a team of about 10 district managers that operate, I think, 70 to 100, I don't know the exact number of 7-Elevens in this area. So this is a franchise, so he can address a lot of the questions on behalf of Vipul Patel as well.
I understand that, but I like to have the license holder in front of me when it's in their name,
Right.
the license holder. And I see we do have the affidavits here. And it's just not the way I like to vote, just
Right.
personally. I like to have both parties. So are the people that are there, who's going to be running it now? Are the same people going to stay there, or are the new people coming in?
So I think there's a mix. I think the current owner operates and he's very actively involved in operations. So when we're taking over, there's a few employees that we're going to be retaining, but I think him and his wife are going to be transitioning to other things. So we will be hiring a few people. I talked to a gentleman who's actually local. He lives down the street in Revere. So that's somebody we'd like to train to get heavily involved in operations. But we are going to retain a lot of the people that are there.
Okay. Well, I just know those two that were there, and I don't think they were really looking forward to leaving. They kind of liked working there. And they're the license holder, so I'm just a little surprised at all this
They
paperwork.
also have a second store. They have another store with us that they live in Quincy,
Right.
and they have a second store in Quincy for now that they have too. So they travel in between every day. And like I said, they've been there for a while, so transitioning out. It's kind of common for us to just a change of ownership, common thing. So it's not really anything that we're pushing them out or anything like that. It's just that change of ownership, and here it's going to come in and hopefully further the operation, forward.
Right. But you understand, it's just me. I like to have both parties here, and do I see it's all signed? So, I mean, it's legal, but I wish they were here, because I've had a chance to talk to them in the past, but I have no other questions.
Well, there is an issue regarding no fire alarm system.
Yes.
Has that been addressed, or is
I
that
can
being
speak to
worked?
that. So part of the change of ownership, we have to try to get Board of Health sign off, and the chief came in and we weren't up to par with that, and he provided us with all the plans of what we wanted done, and it's in process. The plans are back with him already. He gave us the approval to go forward because he approved all the change orders that he gave us. So we're just waiting on the chief to give us permission to do the work, actually.
For the installation,
Yeah.
Okay.
I think he signed off conditionally, and his main concern was the installation of the fire suppression system. He was ready to sign as long as we have a paid invoice, but they're just in the back, process of going back and forth on the exact drawings that he approved. And I think
he gave us a couple of changes that we already did and submitted, and we have exactly what he gave us the specifications for, to put an alarm that goes right to the fire department, and we have that all ready to go. It's a timing thing. He said, as long as I have the plans, now he's waiting for his approval, for him to give us the approval to put the system in.
Okay, thank you.
So I'm confused. Have you received the sign-off from the fire chief yet, the deputy fire chief yet?
there's a conditional approval. He'll sign off on the final as soon as there's a paid invoice or as soon as installation. But I think we're very close to even starting installation, so that shouldn't be an issue.
We actually got permission, I think, yesterday to begin the pre-wiring before the chief just gives us the okay to go ahead and go full board and put it in. But it came from him, exactly what the plans were. It wasn't something we drew up. He gave us exactly what we wanted, and we gave him exactly what he wanted to draw up, everything from soup to nuts.
Could you please state your names and addresses for the
Yes. Okay. Well, I guess I don't have any further questions. Is there a motion to approve this?
I mean, given the 7-Eleven's history and, one of the franchisors is here, I'm going to make a motion to approve it contingent upon the fire system, being in place prior to the, you actually taking over it, which I don't think you've done. What is the takeover date?
We won't set the date until we have it done.
Okay.
So that's what we've been waiting for. We won't do that.
Okay.
We actually can't without the liquor license. We can't sell under the other license until it transfers, so we're with you 100%.
Correct, yeah.
We're just waiting to do the construction work, and once we have it in place, we'll set a date to do the changeover and make sure that we're where we need to be.
Okay.
I think I'm on the same page because that's part of the obligation of the changeover. 7-Eleven has to make the building in proper condition up to the town specifications and whatever other specifications. So they have to pay for the installation. So I don't want to touch it or take over until you guys are happy with it and they've paid
Sure.
for all those changes. So
Okay.
There's a motion to approve it. Is there a second? There is a motion to approve. Do I hear a second to approve it? I don't hear a second to approve it.
You can approve it if you want.
There isn't, I'm sorry, there is not a second vote to approve it. My reason for not approving it and not voting for it is that you don't have a sign-off from the fire chief and the deputy chief. And I don't feel comfortable with approving this without his sign-off.
So I think there was a conditional sign-off. So from when we talked to the licensing office, they said that a conditional approval would be sufficient to get the hearing completed, and afterwards, a final approval will be required to get an actual license physically handed over to us. And I personally went over and talked to the fire chief or the deputy chief and asked them exactly what they're looking for and got involved in the process. And he's on board and on par with
Well, here's my problem with that, is that if the fire chief was on board with that, you'd have his signature on that paper.
Right.
And you don't. So that tells me, maybe you're somewhere in that process, but he's much more well-versed in that stuff than I am, okay? So I have to defer to him. And if he says this thing is not ready because he didn't sign off on it, I'm gonna have to accept that as the position of the city, and it's gonna be my position as a member of the License Commission. So just so you know where I'm coming from, that's kind of why I'm not voting to approve it.
Is it possible to get a conditional approval based on him signing off? Just because it's going to delay things. I think we're very, very close. We've hired a company, Tyco, to make the drawings, Tyco Alarm Security. They've submitted the drawings. They're just going back and forth. And Tyco's okay to go to what the deputy chief's drawings ask for. So, I mean, they're even going to starting the work this week, or that was what the last email was. So we're very close. We just don't want to delay things even more. That's the only reason why.
Was your motion to approve it contingent on the chief, the deputy chief signing off on it?
Correct. It's all contingent, and I think the whole transfer is contingent, correct?
Yes.
Even on the 7-Eleven side, so it's not gonna happen, even on their end.
Not even started. We won't transfer until the work's completed.
Exactly.
Not even started, until
So,
it's completed.
it wouldn't even get to that point. And
We have-
that's
we
how I
have- we have
that's
work
how I
to do
looked at
from
it.
Our end too.
How
to
long
get
is
this
it
going.
take you
That's
to
your
complete
call.
the work?
Well, as soon as we get approval, I'm not really sure from a construction end how long it would take them to improve the alarm. It's, $16,000 to $20,000 alarm system, so
Right.
they have the drawings to do it. I'm not really sure. I mean, a couple weeks to do it.
I think I talked to a few fire consultants. They said the actual install is only going to take a day or two.
Just the wiring of it.
So as soon as they begin the wiring, that's pretty much.
We at the corporation won't change ownership until that part's done, and then we have our part for the store to be ready. We turn over turnkey, so in other words, it's ready from one franchise to another franchise, that the business that they purchase is ready for them to operate.
Sure.
So from every end of it, so even from the fire end, from all the specification, town, board of health, everything has to be signed off and right. So even getting the approval to do that, we're not gonna change it over just before the work's done. It's gonna be completed.
It'd probably take you a month to get this all done, which we would have another meeting in a month.
The problem is, there's a lot of things tied up on the 7-Eleven end, and they won't start it until we get approval from the town. So if the meeting happens next month, it's gonna delay things like another month to, kickstart some of their processes that they have to make the store ready, the store readiness team to come in. So we were just hoping to get a conditional approval. They'll begin the work, and at the same time, I think concurrently, we could probably get the 7-Eleven process rolling.
Very good. Well, I think I'm comfortable with my fellow commissioner's motion, that I could second that motion on a contingent that the fire chief sign off on this before you guys open.
Change ownership, absolutely.
All right, so we need to get a sign off on that. So I will second that. Motion.
I want to be recorded as being present, please.
So the application for a transfer of the malt wine package store license and common victualer's license from SE North Shore Inc., DBA 7/11/24/2747-1C, 1120 North Shore Road, Revere, Hiren Patel, manager, to transfer the malt wine package store license and common victualer's license from Vipul Patel. Said license to be exercised at the same address. The hours of alcoholic beverage sales to be 10 a.m. to 11 p. on Sunday, Monday through Saturday, 8 a.m. to 11 p.m. Hours of food sales to be 24 hours with no seating. This application approval is contingent on the approval of Deputy Chief Cheever. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
The next item for discussion, item number 9, R&M Foods, Inc., DBA De Palma, 288 Broadway, Angela Rendon, manager. This is an application for a malt wine restaurant license. The application of R&M Foods, Inc., DBA De Palma, 288 Broadway, Revere, Mass. Angela Rendon, manager, for a malt wine license to be exercised at the same address. The requested hours to be 10 a.m. until 11 p.m. The requested seating is 33. The requested entertainment is to be a TV and radio. Your name and address for the record, please, sir?
Mr. Chairman and Commissioners, James Cipolletta, 385 Broadway, Revere, on behalf of the applicant. And I am very happy to be before the commission today and very happy to be representing Hector and Angela. I'm sure that the commission is probably aware of some of the other restaurants that this family operates. They've been operating De Palma's in Winthrop, since around the time that I moved over there, many, many years ago, and they do an outstanding job there. And they have recently opened in East Boston, where they have a full liquor license and are doing a very good business in their restaurant there. This is actually right across the street from City Hall, on the corner of Heman Street, or thereabouts. And this will be Angela's project. She's been working with her father, Hector. She grew up in the business, and I know her well from her seating me over there in Winthrop. And she will be on the premises 40 hours a week. Hector will be also supervising as he oversees the other two restaurants in Winthrop and East Boston. Both Hector and Angela have years of experience in the food service industry and in the sales and service of alcoholic beverages. Angela is tip certified and has worked with the alcohol in the East Boston restaurant, which has the full liquor license. It's been sort of a long time coming with the construction moving along, but we're happy to be at the end. If there are any questions of either Angela or Hector, they're more than willing and able to answer those. If there are any specific questions, legally or technically, with regard to the application or issues related to that, I'd be happy to address them as well, Mr. Chairman. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Councilor.
I just have a couple of questions. When you say Yeaman Street, is that the one right on the corner, are you right on the corner of Yeaman Street? I'm a little confused as to the exact location. Please state your name and address, please.
It's 288 Broadway.
Right.
It's across the street from the post office.
Is it on the corner?
Yeah, right in the corner.
It's right on the corner. Isn't that a food store, food chain?
There was a food store. There was a Colombian food. Right now it's going to be Italian food.
So you're changing it from a grocery store to a restaurant?
No,
Is
there
that
was I think it was a Spanish restaurant and there, Colombian food, before. 3 years ago.
I think there's a
It was R&M, it was R&M Foods, was the R&M Foods?
That's their name. That's
Yeah,
their name.
and then it's a restaurant, but is it Foods or is it a restaurant? Italian restaurant. It's gonna be an Italian restaurant, is that
Yes.
what you're saying?
That's
Okay.
correct.
'Cause I'm just confused. One says R&M Foods, and then you have Italian restaurant here.
Yeah, that was, I forgot the name.
It's
That
a
was
DBA.
there before.
Yeah.
But there was, I think it was a Colombian and Puerto Rican food in there before.
What is it right now?
Right now it's nothing, it's closed for 2 years already,
So it's
3 years,
closed.
yeah.
Okay, so now I know where you are, all right. But the place is closed. I'm a little confused with the grocery store and, okay. So what experience do you have in the business?
Well, I've been in this business like almost 30 years, and I was starting in the North End, and then I moved to Winthrop like about 20 years ago, I think it is. And then we opened East Boston 10 years ago. Right now, trying to get down here.
Okay, so are they still, you still have all three, or you're just moving on from those?
What
Are
do
you
you mean?
still in Winthrop?
Yeah, we still running the two places, yeah. She's gonna be, my daughter's gonna be running this place right here. I'm gonna be around her.
Okay. I have no other questions. I'm sure the counselor must know whether the food is good or not, being from Winthrop.
I'm not letting them leave Winthrop.
No, I think it's a great move, I think. I've been to the one in East Boston, it was excellent. Surprised you, my colleague Linda hasn't been, you've been to most restaurants and,
No, I haven't.
really? Interesting. But yeah, it's gonna be like a Reno, there's gonna be no parking, which is perfect, right? But, nice Italian restaurant on Broadway, I think it's an excellent, so I'm all for it. Good luck.
Thank you. It's a great place. I've eaten in your Winthrop place. It's really good, and I like the food in East Boston, too, so
Thank you.
it's a good
Well,
spot.
not the only one.
Are you going to have a bar here, or is there going to be a bar in this?
It's not gonna be a bar, it's just gonna be a beer and wine, because, the pasta, they need a beer and wine. I don't want a full liquor
I'm totally with it.
Just,
Yeah, it doesn't show a bar here.
Yeah, I didn't see, I'm looking at the floor plan, so I don't see a bar.
It says a
no, I
counter.
just have like a little
Counter?
counter for the wait station, like,
Okay.
coffee and all the stuff, in the other side of the room.
Very good. Well, thank you very much, and good luck with it. I'll close this section. Are there any proponents? Hearing and seeing, and I will say for the record that the ward counselor, Counselor Keefe, called me earlier, and he wanted to express his support for your application, so just so you know that he thinks it's going to be a great addition to the neighborhood, so I will close that section of the meeting. Are there any opponents? Hearing and seeing none, I will close that section of the meeting. Is there a motion to approve this?
I'll make a motion to approve.
I'll second the motion, good luck.
Very good. The motion is approved for the application for a malt wine restaurant license of RM Foods, Inc., DBA De Palma, 288 Broadway, Revere, Mass. Angela Rendon, manager. The malt wine restaurant license will be exercised at the same location. The requested hours of operation will be from 10 a.m. until 11 p.m. The requested seating is 33, and the requested entertainment is television and radio. Very good. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you, Counselor. Item number 10, La Meta Paneca Grill, Inc., 638 Revere Beach Boulevard. Daniel A. Lemus, Alacon, President and Manager. This is an application for a transfer of a common victualer's license. The application for La Meta Paneca Grill to transfer a common victualer's license from Jennifer Cifuentes and Eden Lemus, said license to be exercised at the same address, 63B Revere Beach Boulevard. The requested hours of operation are to be 10 a.m. to 2 a.m., and there's no seating. Your name and address for the record, please.
My name is Daniel Lemos. I live in 79 Homer Street, East Boston.
Very good. And yours, ma'am?
My name is Consuelo, and I also live in 79 Homer Street, East Boston.
Very good. And what are your plans for this this common victualer's license?
So basically, we were planning to open for the summer season, serving like fast food as chicken wings, what else? Buffalo wings. We also plan to serve some kebabs, like chicken, steak, and shrimp kebab. So fast and easy.
Very good. Do any of my fellow commissioners have any questions?
No, I know the area well, and fast food seems to go well there.
Exactly.
So, no, I don't have any questions. Do you have any other businesses, other restaurants other than this?
We have another business right here in Broadway, 368 Broadway. But there's a convenience store. There's not a restaurant.
It's a convenience store?
Yeah, next to Peter Good.
Okay. No, I have no other questions.
Any questions, Commissioner?
No questions.
Very good. I also have no questions. I think it's pretty well self-explanatory. You just want to open up a place there and sell some fast food.
Yeah.
You have all the necessary sign-offs and certificates. So I will close that section of the meeting. Are there any proponents? A hearing and seeing none, I will close that section of the meeting. Are there any opponents? Yes, sir. Speak. Please come forward and your name and address for the record.
Hi, my name is Michael Tobin, and I'm an attorney in Rosendale. My address is 735 South Street, Rosendale, and I represent the prior owner of this business, whose name is Sotorius Sakis, and his mother is here with me today. Mr. Sakis actually lives in Canada now. I'm the author of the letter that you have in the file there in opposition to the application, and it's dated May 8th, but so it explains that my client sold this business to your current license holder, Jennifer Cifuentes, and Mr. Eden Lemus, who apparently, I don't know if he's related or not to this applicant, but my client sold this business a year ago and took back a note and a financing agreement on the equipment and has a secured UCC filing with the Secretary of State's office on the equipment. And my client has not been paid any payments with the exception of one payment on the loan. And this is that's a copy of the.
Thank you.
That's a copy of the promissory note and the UCC filing, which is perfected with the Secretary of State's office. So my client is in a position where he's going to have to repossess this equipment because he hasn't been paid, and these applicants are not going to be able to open or if they do open, it's going to be a short-lived opening. The current license holder is not even here, so that can tell you something about this situation where she has known the current applicant, the current license holder, Cifuentes, has known for a long time that we were going to, that it was a violation of the note to transfer the license and the equipment without the permission of the current, of my client, the holder of the security interest, without paying the loan off at the closing on the business. So she sold the business, and apparently these people have not done a UCC check, otherwise they would have saw it. So I think the license should go back to my client, if at all, if it's going to be transferred at all. Otherwise, this is going to be a short-lived business operation. So.
Thank you. So, excuse me, Counselor, just so I have this correct. Your clients are the prior license holders.
Yes,
And-
Sakis is a...
And you don't have any arrangement with these people at all? These people
I do not.
basically dealt with the person that you dealt with?
Yes.
Only on the other end?
Yes.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
So basically, we don't have any idea about it. So we've got the place for another person, for the Limus and Jessica, but we don't have any idea about it. So we have a receipt for all the payment we made, and they do a list for all the equipment.
The people we have.
Yeah.
That's the first thing I do with him is check it out what's gonna be on the.
What's mine and what's not.
Yeah.
Yeah, it'd be kind of
You got the receipt, right?
leery about going in there. I mean, if they're going to come in and take that equipment from you.
Exactly,
Yeah.
but we have a sales receipt that all the equipment, we get it from there from him to us.
But did he own it, that he could
They-
sell it to you?
They're supposed to. Otherwise, I didn't pay anything.
Now, the prior owner gave you a receipt for the equipment?
Yeah.
And you purchased it?
Yeah,
But they didn't own the equipment?
exactly. But we didn't know that because he was the owner.
So he's.
So how are you supposed to sell a place renting the equipment? And he said he was the owner of the equipment, sorry.
And this is another thing too, when we filled the application, the license, I think Maggie, she asked me for the receipt of
And we
what a
provide-
buyer.
we provide all the receipts.
We are the buyers,
I just feel bad. I think you're caught in a situation that you didn't know about. But then on the other hand, I don't know that that has anything to do with the commission.
Yeah.
Exactly.
See, the commission right now, there's no license there. There's no common victual license there. So this is illegal, and I think it's something that you people, if you want to take the risk with it, I think you're taking a risk. But as far as a common victual license, there is none there. As far as I'm concerned, I don't know that we can get into the legal aspect of it. I think they probably can come in and take the equipment. But again, that's the legal part of it. As far as we're concerned, you're coming for a common victual license. There is no common victual license there, and that's what I'm concerned with, whether we should go ahead and give it to you or protect you from
Because he
getting
provided
hurt.
a copy of his license to be transferred.
He doesn't have a license at this point. Did he renew the license there?
We have, show her the license we have.
But is there a license there, Maggie, now?
Yeah, we have it here.
Not this, right. So there is a license there now. I mean, I'm kind of, I feel bad for you. I think you're
I know
caught up in a mess
it
here.
take
And
us
yet, I
as a
think-
surprise because nobody notified us. So we've been holding the business since January, and nobody notified us what's going on till today. So we're really surprised about it.
Well, as the attorney just said, you could be short-lived if you open that. They may come in and take the equipment. So I don't know what to say. I don't think the legal aspect has anything to do with this commission. I think the commission is only whether, and again, the party that signed that is not here.
Exactly.
Right. So again, I have a hard time voting when I can't speak to both parties.
Exactly. All right.
So therefore, I rest my case again.
You know, I feel badly in this because it appears that you were taken here, okay? And I would think that you may have some cause of action with the police department if you wanted to go that route. Clearly, you know, one of the things is when you buy stuff, you should check and make sure the person actually owns it. I mean, you know, that would be,
Exactly, because we saw the license, it was their name in there, so it was logical, right? What we thought, they were owning all the thing, and they gave us a receipt, but we have to figure out what to do. Thank you.
yeah, well, you know, and if you get this figured out, you know, we'd be more than happy to help you and to try and, you know, get you approved. But as the thing stands right now, I don't think anybody in here in good conscience could vote for this and feel like
Yeah, there's
this
nothing
thing
to
is going to go anywhere but south. So that's kind of where I'm coming from.
All right, thank you.
All right, thank you very much, and I'm
But
sorry.
They're more welcome to come back if it's straightened out. Feel bad for them.
Yes, Counselor.
With regards to the council's point on the current license holder, I spoke with her this morning. I didn't call her, she called me. And I said, "Oh, are you coming to the hearing this afternoon?" She said, "Oh, what hearing? I didn't know about any hearing. Nobody told me about any hearing," which seems to be kind of a little strange, but, and kind of a coincidence that she would call me on the morning of the hearing. So I think it's a little disingenuous that she didn't know that the hearing was today, so.
Thank you, Counselor. I think we can agree with that one. Item number
Are
11.
there any opponents or proponents going to speak?
We didn't, they withdrew their application.
Do you want to take up their back?
I'm sorry?
They're asking to be heard. The one that, I don't know if they paid the taxes.
Okay, we'll bring
Was
them
it
back.
Smart Auto? How am I doing?
We will go back to item number 6, Smart Buy Auto Group, Inc., DBA Smart Buy USA.
What promissory note?
Yes, I'm sorry. Maggie, would you, thank you.
Make sure it's paid.
Okay, so this is an application for a transfer of a Class 2 motor vehicle dealer's license. The application of Smart Buy Auto Group, Inc., DBA Smart Buy USA, for transfer of a Class 2 motor vehicle dealer's license from JP Auto Sales LLC. Said license to be exercised at 1107 North Shore Road. Maximum number of cars for sale on the lot to be 17. Continuing from the April meeting. Your name and address for the record, please.
Maria Colometta, 36 Village Road, Middleton.
Very good. And your name and address, sir?
Edward Colometta, 100 Truman Drive, Malden.
Very good. This is an application for a transfer of the Class 2 motor vehicle dealer license. Are there going to be any changes to the lot? No. Everything is as it is, basically just changing the, transferring the name and the license. Any questions on this, Commissioner?
I have no questions.
Any questions? Is there a motion to approve this?
Motion to approve.
Second the motion.
Well, I'm sorry, I can't do that.
Yep.
I need to check. I need to check, I'm sorry. Are there any proponents out there? I hear and see none. I'll close that part of the meeting. Are there any opponents? I hear and see none. I will close that section. Is there a motion to approve?
Motion to approve.
I'll second the motion.
The motion to approve the transfer of the application for transfer of a Class 2 motor vehicle license, dealer license of Smart Buy Auto Group, Inc., DBA Smart Buy USA. The transfer from JP Auto Sales, said license to be exercised at 1107 North Shore Road, Revere. The maximum number of cars for sale on the lot to be 17. Thank you very much. Good luck. Item number 11. This is Black Marble Motorcycles, LLC, DBA Boston Harley Davidson, 649-1 Squire Road, Revere. Heather Vieira is the event manager. This is an application for two special one-day malt wine, common victular, and entertainment licenses. The applications for the two events to be exercised at the same location for two separate occasions. The requested dates and times are, number one, Thursday, May 17th, 2018, from 6 p.m. to 9 p.m. for an outdoor bike night motorcycle rodeo event. And the second event will be Thursday, June 21st, 2018, from 6 p.m. until 9 p.m., also for an outdoor bike night, car, and motorcycle show. Your name and address for the record, please.
Heather Vieira, 13 Jones Street in Everett.
Very good. Can you explain us a little bit about these events, please?
Yes, so the motorcycle rodeo is a skills competition for our more experienced customers. They do a series of small challenges, one of them being a slow race, which is a little more difficult than you'd think on a motorcycle, a tire toss, and then also a plank ride. It's all in a contained area that's been barricaded off with metal barricades that separates the crowd from the actual games. And in that separated area is where we would like to be able to serve them beer.
And is this the way that you've served your other beer in the past with the wristbands, two beers per person?
Yes, a 2-beer limit. It's not allowed out of that area. That's been roped off on the schematic sheet. And we have security posted at all entrances and exits to maintain that.
Very good. Do any of my fellow commissioners have any questions?
No, obviously, I always like to hear from the lieutenant. He's there quite a bit when you run these, and what he thinks about security and where this should be held. I know in the past, just one question, is this going to be in the back? I know you had a ride. No, it's going to be right in the front on the premises?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, we use, if you look at the map, that's actually the schematic of the whole parking lot for the front of the building. That's shared with 2 other businesses. At that time, the dental office is closed, and we actually have some spaces on reserve for Easy Pie for their customers as well.
So I'd like to hear from the lieutenant.
Yes, no, they've done probably at least a dozen of these events since they've been here. They've all gone off without a hitch. We haven't had any problems. We have no complaints, so we have no opposition to it.
In detail, you...
They haven't, they really don't have the numbers that would require that. No. It's always gone, like I said, gone off without any, we haven't had any complaints at all, really.
Okay. That's all I had to hear.
Yeah, I really have no question. They've been doing this for several years and never an incident, so I have no concerns. They do a really good job policing the area and putting on a good show.
Thank you.
And we use the plastic cups again? Is that what you were using?
What we use is, we specifically only get beer in cans.
Oh.
That's all. For our safety and our customer
Yes.
safety. Don't want glass with motorcycles.
I have no questions.
Very good. Thank you very much. We close this section. Are there any proponents? Hearing and seeing none, we'll close that section. Are there any opponents? No. Hearing and seeing none, we'll close that. Is there a motion to approve this?
I'll make a motion to approve.
I'll second the motion.
The motion to approve is carried. The application for 2 special one-day malt wine, common victular, and entertainment licenses to be exercised in the same location, which is 649-1 Squire Road, for 2 separate occasions. The requested dates and times are for application license number 1, Thursday, May 17th, 2018, from 6 p.m. until 9 p.m. And that's for an outdoor bike night motorcycle rodeo event. The second license will be for Thursday, June 21st, 2018. And that's from 6 p.m. to 9 p.m. for an outdoor bike night, car, and motorcycle show. Those applications are approved. Thank you.
Thank you.
Item number 12, Los Hornitos LLC, 2 Park Avenue. Sandra Barboza, manager. This is an application for a transfer of a common victuals license. The application of Los Hornitos LLC, 2 Park Avenue, Sandra Barboza, manager, to transfer a common victuals license from Chocolate LLC. Said license to be exercised at the same address. The requested hours to be 6 a.m. till 7 p.m. And there's no seating?
We requested seating for 8. We're not sure if that,
My summary here says no seating.
well, right now the license has no seating, correct? The current license, I should say.
We decided to stick with no seating because she would like to put seating in, but is not sure as yet if it's allowed. And until she checks with
Correct.
inspectional services, she can't ask for it.
Correct.
So no seating.
We go just by what the application
Okay,
is, so it's no
that's fine.
seating
Thank you.
transfer. You can address that at a later date.
Okay, so we are gonna transfer this with no seating right now.
Okay.
Is that correct?
Correct.
Do you wanna proceed?
Correct.
Very good.
Thank
And
you.
so what would you like to do here?
Well, to transfer a license, the scope of services would be relatively the same. It's a coffee shop, bakery kind of thing, mostly takeout, just so you know. In fact, all takeout.
Now, will you be the new license holder? or you-
Actually, Sandra, this is
You're-
my
you're-
niece, by the way, I'm sorry.
Very good.
Sorry.
And do you have prior experience in the
Yeah,
business?
I have. I used to work in Spain more than 10 years in a bakery there, and now I want to open this here.
Very good. Do any of my fellow commissioners have any questions?
Now, you're the current holder of the license.
No, I'm not the current owner. I'm her uncle, by the way, just so you know.
Who is the current owner?
I forget her name.
And
She's not here,
We
by the way.
have papers saying that he wants to transfer it.
What's that? We have a purchase and sales agreement. We went through the
See,
licensing.
Again, I have to say,
Yeah.
I would like to both parties here.
Right.
I don't understand why the other parties aren't coming up here,
yeah.
giving up their license.
I know, I don't know
You know,
why.
I've had an incident many years ago where I transferred a license and it ended up in court for probably a year and a half. But I
Correct.
had to go to court that I transferred a license that someone already had.
I understand.
And they come up here and say, well, I'm gonna take the license, we're just gonna transfer a license, and then, you know, I don't have anybody to back that up.
Yeah, well, our purchase and sales agreement entailed a transfer of license
Right.
if allowed.
And I understand
And I
that.
appreciate it, yeah, and you know what it is, it's hard because I'm not quite sure why people don't show up.
Right.
I know we
And
need
sir,
to.
just like you, if somebody comes in next month and says, I'm gonna take that
Right.
license, they said they don't want it anymore, you know.
I understand.
So I'm gonna yield to my two colleagues.
I understand.
Do you have any questions, Commissioner?
So there's no documentation that he's transferring the license to you, or is there?
We do, we have a purchase and sales agreement, and we have a full application there somewhere. I have it in my folder here, too.
Okay. I do understand where my colleague's coming from. I understand these things happen. Kind of on the fence. However, in the past, I have supported documentation without the transfer person being here, so I'm going to stay with that.
So I'm
approve it.
looking at an asset purchase agreement.
You're correct.
Did, the current license holder is
Chocolate.
Chocolate, and that's Angela Cardona Ramirez?
That's you're correct.
Okay, so she signed the transfer of
She did. Yeah, we had a notarized purchase.
the asset purchase agreement.
Yeah, I'm a broker, I'm a real estate broker, so I
Okay.
got it done correctly.
Well, I mean, I understand my fellow commissioners' reluctance to vote on this thing without the people there.
I understand.
Both sides, but I feel as if we'd be punishing you by her not showing up, and I don't think that's necessarily fair, considering that she has expressed an intention to sell this in this agreement. So, I mean, I wouldn't have a problem approving this.
Thank you.
Is there a motion to approve this?
I'll make a motion to approve the transfer.
Thank you.
I will second the motion.
I'll be recorded as being present.
Thank you.
Very good.
We still have a 2-year one going on in Beachmont that I transferred, and there's still, I don't have time to
I
spend in
understand.
court.
Every circumstance is different.
I don't either, but I don't expect that I'll be there, so. The application for transfer of a common victualer's license of Hornitos LLC, 2 Park Avenue, Sandra Barboza, manager, to transfer that license from Chocolafe. Said license to be exercised at the same address. The requested hours of operation are to be 6 a.m. to 7 p.m. Currently, there is no seating. That license is transferred.
Thank you. We appreciate your time. Thank you.
At this time, I'd like to, before we get on with the hearings, I would like to skip to item number 18, because I'm sure these, or is it 17? I'm awful sorry. I'm sorry. It's 17. Lazy Crab, before we get into the hearings.
Very good.
If that's okay with my
Sure, that's fine.
commissioners.
That's fine, that's fine.
To the commission, Joseph Cotoggio, 1 Sprague Street, Revere, representing
I would
the
like to,
applicant.
just for 1
Yes,
minute,
go
something
ahead.
I didn't know, and I just found out. I didn't realize your grandmother is Mama Rosa. I didn't know that, and that's wonderful. I just happened to be at a time. That's, right, I was with your mom, and your mom said, that's my mother, Mama Rosa from Revere. I didn't realize it was a Revere family.
Okay. We've been called here to kind of clarify and bring up to date the commission on the issuance of the license for Lazy Crab. Just briefly, the applicant, Lazy Crab, is consistent of 2 partners who purchased and is seeking to reopen the restaurant that was set up previously as Sebastian's on Broadway. The application was for the same seating, same hours. There was very minimal renovation to be done, but there was renovation. But they weren't changing anything other than the style and menu. They took the license application under the name of the business that was going to run the restaurant, which is Lazy Crab LLC. They were also purchasing the condominium that houses the restaurant. They did that under a separate LLC, even though it was the same 2 partners. They did that for liability purposes. This is a very common practice. So the entity that bought the restaurant was Win MP LLC. The entity that applied for the licenses and was going to operate the restaurant was Lazy Crab LLC, which was going to sign a lease agreement, even though, again, the parties were the same. They did that for liability purposes. They went for a loan to purchase the condominium and for some funds for construction. They applied at Rockland Trust. One of the conditions, which was after the issuance of the permit, the license, that Rockland Trust imposed was a pledge of the license. So the applicants came back to pledge the license. It was submitted to the ABCC. The pledge was approved here by this board, was submitted to the ABCC, and went back and forth for a couple of months, specifically because the ABCC had a problem that the applicant for the pledge, which was the Win MP LLC, was different from the holder of the license. We tried to explain that it was the same entity. They would not allow the pledge. So we are now at a point where one of the names has to change. Given that they hold title to the condominium, and the application has been approved by Rockland Trust under Win MP LLC, it is most likely that we come back and look to change the name or transfer the name from Lazy Crab, for the holder of the liquor license, from Lazy Crab LLC to Win MP LLC. Again, same members, but that would be the reason so that we can resubmit to the ABCC for the approval of the pledge under the same name. I hope I clarified that.
No, that
There was
answered
rest,
my
but-
question,
But that's
because-
why, so if we can get a little more time, we will come back with a request for the transfer of the name of the liquor license and then resubmit at the same time the pledge to Rockland Trust through the board to the ABCC.
That's great. That's
Okay.
great. You answered my questions. Thank you.
I have no question.
I don't think anyone else has any questions. Counselor, thank you very much. I will close that. And now we move to,
Hearings? We got the hearings and we got
do you want to take the hearings or do you want to go? Item number 13, which would be the Boulevard Cafe Corporation, DBA Sammy's Patio. This is a hearing into possible violations of license regulations stemming from alleged violations of Massachusetts General Law, Chapter 94C. This is a continuation of the March hearing. Is there anyone on behalf of Boulevard Cafe Corporation?
Mr. Chairman, Commissioners, James Cipolletta, 385 Broadway, Revere, on behalf of Boulevard Cafe Corporation. With me today are Sam Faisal and Mary Ellen Faisal. Mary Ellen is the manager of record. And we also have subpoenaed one witness.
Very good. Well, I mean, you've had an opportunity to review the material that
Yes.
was forwarded to you.
Yes, thank you.
We've had an opportunity to review the material forwarded. I think some of my fellow commissioners may have some questions.
Indeed.
So I will ask, you have any questions?
I would just like the counselor to just recap.
Yes,
That's okay.
I'll make a sort of an attorney proffer of what I would expect the evidence would show. I've read the police report, and for the record, it is largely uncontested. And on behalf of at least the management and the ownership of the established, the licensed establishment, the incidents, and there were numerous, that occurred over the course of a number of weeks, happened during the daytime hours, and was, according to the police report, involving an employee who had done some things unbeknownst to the management and the ownership. There, nowhere in any of the police reports or the continuing narratives that were supplied to us by the police department, an indication that either Sammy or Mary Ellen was on premises. The employee who was, and not to demean or any way impugn her, you may have an opportunity to hear from her, and she can explain further. She was charged with opening up she was in charge of opening up during the day, and she was a daytime employee. Certain things happened during the course of the day. The management was not involved. They did not knowingly permit this activity to happen on their premises. They were not involved in committing the acts that were alleged to have happened on the premises. The young lady has taken full responsibility for the activity that was set out in the criminal complaint in Chelsea District Court. She has entered a plea of guilty, and she has accepted probation. And there were reasons why that she was placed on probation, and those are reasons that I would rather her address the board rather than get involved in that. And what aftercare and other programs that she is involved in at this point. Needless to say, she was terminated upon her arrest. There was a notation in the police report that the telephone that was taken from the young lady was in the name of Sammy Faisal. Sam has a business plan. There are 6 or 8 people, I think, 6 people now on that plan with the provider, and all of his employees had the phone. So $25 for the first number of subscribers, and then $10 a line after that. So he allowed them to avail themselves of that corporate or business program that the telecommunications provider offered. And I say that because I don't want the commission to get the impression that because the telephone was in the business name, that anything was done on behalf of the business. It was a program that was a discounted program for volume. I will say that for 20, plus years, I don't think you've seen Sammy or Mary Ellen up here on any violations. It's not the kind of establishment that, it's not the kind of activity that they condone or that they participate in that would give rise to an allegation that would make them appear before the commission as being in violation of the terms and conditions of their license. It's an unfortunate incident. They trusted somebody, and the person they trusted is a good person, just happened to have some problems. And there have been measures taken so that this type of thing is not going to be possible again in the future, so as not to waste that young lady's time, because it did subpoena her. If the board has, if the commission has questions of Sammy or Mary Ellen, they're happy to speak with you. Ms. Zerpolo is here. I think she's the party with the most knowledge and may be able to more eloquently relate the facts to the commission than I would in a summary. So if, with the chairman's permission, may I have Ms. Zerpolo address the commission? Okay.
Your name, please?
Renee Zarpalo.
I'm not going to do a Q&A. I think just a narrative,
Yeah,
if
if
that's
she
okay.
can just
Yeah.
recap of what happened that evening you were working.
I was at my job, I was selling cocaine out of Sammy's. I would sell it in the afternoon when neither Sammy or Mary Ellen was there. They had no knowledge of what I was doing or what was going on. I had a bad drug problem. I was doing this to support a habit that I had. Right now I'm in recovery, thoughts. I have a sponsor. I'm doing a lot better. And that's about it.
Well, the council mentioned you went to court.
Yes, I did. I pleaded guilty, 18 months probation, and two counts on each charge, 8 counts that I sell to an undercover cop.
And this is something you do. It's a very sad story on how people are getting hooked up on this. I have to be honest with you. You know, my heart goes out to you, but
it's a disease that
it's a
bad.
terrible,
yes,
a terrible thing that it makes good people stoop to the level of having to deal. And I find it to be a very sad story. It's kind of
I'm
heart-wrenching.
ashamed of it.
I'm very upset with Sammy because I've known the business for many, many years. I knew his dad. I was one that used to go there, and it upset me to hear this story because, as they say, this never happened there. It was a good place, and Dad, Dad would have never been happy with the situation. But, things have changed, and really the establishment has got to get a hold of what's going on in their own business. Ultimately, it's still their liquor license. They are responsible. They have to know who they're hiring, and in no way do I want to in any way hurt you. I mean, that's a terrible disease, and I think everybody's affected by it. And it's really too bad that I'm just concerned what hours he's there, that you're there and no one else is there. Any of the owners there when you're working?
From 11 to 2 in the morning is deliveries, and that's when this activity was occurring.
2 in the afternoon.
Yeah, 11 in the morning to 2 in the afternoon is when the deliveries come in. They're there to just sign for deliveries. After 2 in the afternoon, when the people start really coming in, one of us is there at all times. I mean, if you look at the transcripts of everything that happened, it's all 11 a.m., 12 a.m., 12 p.m. I mean, we're in this, listen, I've been clean for 17 years. I speak in hospitals, churches, recovery centers, high schools. I close down for sober nights. Every New Year's Eve, I close my club down and I fill it up with Chinese food and invite all the halfway house kids over for no charge. Like, this isn't something I want attached to my name. This isn't something that I'm going to be okay with. In the 23 years that I've been running the club, I haven't been up here for a violation. I run a clean club.
Unfortunately, it happens to be a very serious
Yeah,
violation.
I agree 100%.
That's a
I
problem.
agree
It's a very
100%.
serious.
I agree 100%.
And again, I will just say that, still your business and being as you are and going to these detox centers and speaking, I think is wonderful, but you couldn't see she had a problem.
An addict is the most
Conniving.
best actors in the world. I mean, you have to see it in the city of Revere that we're going through now.
I can attest to that, because when my brother was using, none of us.
Can you please speak into the mic and give your name?
When my brother was using, none of us knew it, because he was the best liar. He would look at you straight in the face and say, "I'm not doing anything, I'm straight." And you would believe him because he's looking you straight in the eye. So, you know, the drug addict will say whatever they have to or do whatever they have to so they're not caught.
But,
You know.
like I was saying, the reason we don't have a violation is because we're on premise all the time. It was the winter time, it's slow.
We're in and out.
She
We're
was-
not,
she
I mean,
was
you
going-
know,
she was having a
I
ton of
had 3
surgeries done.
surgeries, but we're in and out. I mean, we don't sit there 24 hours a day. You run to the bank,
Yeah,
you have to
I'm
run,
probably
get
there 12,
supplies.
14 hours a
But
day.
again, I'm just going to say that this activity, she got caught, it's unfortunate she
It
got
is.
caught, but usually
It
it's
shouldn't have
happening.
even happened.
I know, but usually it isn't the first time that you're dealing that you get caught. So how long was this even going on for?
She was only working for 3.5 months, she had just started there. She was a regular customer, and we lost a bartender, and I brought her into work because I couldn't find another bartender, because nobody's coming down Revere Beach to work in the middle of the winter.
Well, I have nothing else to say. I have to tell you, I'm quite upset with Sammy's Patio. It really upset that this had to happen there, but I just feel for her. I just,
I see Sergeant Impemba
very
in the
sad
audience.
story.
We should hear from him.
Oh, absolutely. I want to hear him.
I'd like to hear from Sergeant Impemba, if that's okay. Thank you, Sergeant. Just if you could quickly name and address for the record, if you could just address what you heard and just tell us from your perspective what the situation is there.
Yes, my name is Robert Impemba, Sergeant at the Police Station 400 Revere Beach Parkway. Basically, as I stated last time that we were here, this investigation was, Sammy's Patio was only a part of this investigation. It entailed some other bars in and around the Shirley Ave area. The investigation lasted for about a month and a half, and some employees of establishments, to include Mr. Apollo and other employees of establishments, as well as some of the patrons from those bars were focused in on as far as distribution of cocaine. By the time the case was over, we had seized from a specific patron's house, in particular out of Sammy's Patio and Bill Ash's. There was a patron that we seized over $1 million in cash from and $100,000 worth of cocaine. Mr. Apollo was just part of the investigation. It also, it spanned out from the time of the investigation.
Were there any indications from your investigation that the owners of these establishments were involved in this type of operation?
The owners were not present during the time that the undercover narcotics purchases were conducted. The only employee
So
present.
each time, now there were 7 buys for Ms. Serpolo?
Yes.
And so each of those 7 buys, neither of the 2 principals were on the premises at that time?
No, they were not.
Did you at any time go to them and tell them what was going on?
Did I?
To let them know what was going on in the establishment? Did you ever speak with Sammy or?
No, we typically don't speak to anybody outside the scope of the investigation. Just in, we don't want to compromise anything as far as the investigation goes.
So when there's a representation made that, they're not involved and they are doing everything they can to prevent this thing, from your perspective, do you see that? Is that what you see?
It's tough for me to say. I really have no knowledge of what goes on inside the establishment on a daily basis. The problems there have been minimal, with the exception of this particular incident, other than crowd control and some, like I said, some certain individuals in there maybe, involved in criminal activity. That's the extent of my investigation.
Very good. Do any of my fellow commissioners have any questions?
Yeah, the only question or comment, I usually like to look at histories, situations like this. And based on the information we got, it was, a one period incident in 3 months, was it a 3-month period?
Well, it was the end of December. The investigation initiated the end of December and went through the beginning of February.
Okay, so about 3 months, so overall, it sounds like, I haven't seen the owners up here for other, and I'm not just speaking to you, I'm just speaking in general, for other infractions and what have you. So I like to take history into account, fellow commissioners, whatever we decide to do. So from my perspective, it appears there's a lot of remorse here, and there's a lot of, there's a lot of sorry from the owner's perspective, which in the I don't call it defendant, the person, Ms. Ripolo, understood. So we're going to have to decide collectively what you want to do, motion or dismissal, whatever you want to do.
I want to ask you a question. Are there any other legal actions pending?
As far as Ms. Zerpolo's case goes, she did plead guilty and received probation as stated, but there are other individuals that are involved in the investigation that still have open criminal matters.
So the case is still going on.
Correct.
Would it involve them in any way? She obviously is done with the situation.
With the exception of her probation period, I think her case is closed.
Okay.
And there's no connection with these other people, with the owners, correct? There's no connection.
There's no connection between the individuals that are customers inside of the bar that we can prove to the owners. No, there's no connection to them.
Okay, thank you.
Well, thank you very much, Sergeant. Does anybody else have any questions? Thank you. From my perspective, I think that the situation is such that, clearly there was a lack of control of the premises. There was drug sales that went on an ongoing basis for seven buys, which is a fairly substantial number to me, and it shows that there was a lack of attentiveness on the part of the management of the place. And so I would be putting a motion to close the place for, shave some hours off the place for a period of time, close until midnight for 6 months as a way to ensure that you're able to control this thing and make sure that nothing like this happens in the future. I don't know what my fellow commissioners think about that, but that would be a motion that I would put forth.
Normally, I would agree with you. There are still court cases pending. This girl, I think, is taking the brunt for it, which rightfully so. You were dealing, you've admitted to it. I hope you've learned your lesson, and you're going to stay with the help that's offered to you. And but I can't see where the nature of this business, being, I wouldn't want to be in the business because it's very hard to control it. And I've known them for a very long time. They haven't been up here. I feel at this point what I'd like to do is I would like to put them on probation. And you say 12 o'clock, but I would like to put them on probation for the next 6 months. Should another incident happen, regardless of what it is, whether they don't have control, they should have control, whether it's overcrowding or whatever the story may be. And then I would like to, at that point, give them that 6 months. And at that point, should another incident happen, I think we did it before with one of the other clubs, it would be an automatic rollback to, as Commissioner said, I would roll back your hours to 12 o'clock. And I guess I'm being a little lenient here, I guess so, because I appreciate her coming up and telling the truth. And that means a lot to me, that someone come up and tell it like it is. But I will be very strong. And Commissioner Solovich, I will go along with him, and it would be 12 o'clock. I would make that in the form of a motion that give them a 6-month probation. First violation, rollback of 12 o'clock. That's in the form of a motion. I don't know if I'll get a second, but
Do you have anything to say about
Well,
that, Commissioner?
So just, Mr. Fasal,
And I will say just one more thing,
Sure,
excuse
sure,
me,
sure.
Counsel,
Go
I
ahead.
meant to say, and the only other thing is because the officer stated that we are still going to go ahead with the criminal actions on the other parties that were involved. There are still more criminal charges. So they will, so I feel like there's, someone's paying for these actions that were taken in this establishment. Thank you very much.
So
I'm
just-
sorry, excuse me.
no, that's okay. So what safeguards have you put in place
We
moving
started
forward?
random drug testing for all our employees.
Okay.
I am now there at 11 o'clock in the morning. My son is coming on board, my 24-year-old son, and he's going to be coming down in the mornings. We're going to have somebody on. I mean, this time of year we would anyways. Like I said, I'm there constantly. I have the biggest security staff in the city. Right now, basically, the only people that are working there is my family. It's me, my son, my sister, my wife, and one other employee, and a cleanup guy that's been with me for 30 years. We started the random drug testing, and,
Okay, no.
just try to be a
Yeah.
little,
Yeah, so, I mean, the past, you can't, you can't change that, and I understand. I think, you've been around for a long time, you understand the ramifications if something were to happen moving forward. So I'm going to support my colleague Linda on her motion, and second the motion that we go on a 6-month probation if anything were to happen, or in the event that the ongoing investigation does bring you back into play, then we could, that would violate the probation as well. The assumption is you had nothing to do with any of the parties, including the one they're investigating as well. So I'm gonna second the motion from fellow Commissioner Linda Guanasso.
Okay, and just to be clear, we don't need to have a hearing because we've already
Yeah,
stated
yeah.
it. It would be automatic, 12 o'clock. Your attorney will be notified immediately.
Yes, thank you.
So the motion that we're going to vote on, and it has been voted on, 2 votes, is to put the Boulevard Cafe Corporation on probation for a period of 6 months, with the understanding that any liquor license violation reported to us will result in an immediate rollback of hours until 12 o'clock midnight, until the next License Commission meeting, of which you'll then come forward and we'll address it at that point. Does that make sense? Do you understand? Are we all on the same page with that?
Well, it makes sense, but I don't think I would change. I think I would stay at 12 o'clock, but
Yes.
okay, you would have the right to a hearing, I guess.
Yes, at the next available meeting. Very good. So that it will be the result of this hearing. That is our motion, is to put the the Boulevard Cafe Corporation on probation for a period of 6 months, with the understanding that any violation of liquor license laws and ordinance in the city will result in an immediate rollback to 12 p.m. until the next License Commission meeting. 12 a.m., I'm sorry. Thank you. Until the next License Commission meeting. Do you understand
Yes,
that?
I
Am
understand.
clear with that?
Yes.
Okay, very good.
Do we have any proponents or opponents who want to speak on this?
Yes, I don't, is there anybody else that would like to speak on this matter? Proponents, opponents? Hearing and seeing none, we will close that. And that matter has been voted. Okay, the next item, item number 14, RK&E Corp., DBA BK's Bar and Grill, 264 Ocean Avenue, Marilyn Sims, manager. This is also a hearing into possible violations of license regulations stemming from alleged violations of Massachusetts General Law, Chapter 94C, as well as possible violations resulting from a fight between patrons that caused injury and property damage. This is a continued from the April meeting. Your name and address for the record, please,
Yes,
sir.
Mr. Chairman, James Sippaletta, 385 Broadway, Revere. On behalf of the licensee, with me is Marilyn Sims and Bob Kelly.
Thank you very much. And can you give us a brief outline of your position here today, sir?
Yes, Mr. Chairman. I think to address the police drug investigation first, I believe this was a one-time incident. It was an employee who was employed as a doorman, and they made a drug buy from him, and I think it was in the afternoon, up on Orr Square. It was not on the premises of BK's. It was done outside the view of the supervisor, the supervising employees who were there. He was not working at the time, and we can't speak for him. I think I'm not sure whether his criminal case is still pending or not. He has not communicated with us. He was summarily fired on that day. I think the police report, again, is uncontroverted. We have no issue with the narrative that the police officer wrote. It seems that because we have no knowledge of it, we have no reason to disagree with it, but that it did not happen on the premises, in the premises. It happened up the street while the individual was not working. So Marilyn is there all day. Bob's there most of the time, in many evenings as well, and they had no idea. We don't know how long this was going on. He was not employed for very long, but as soon as the Revere police let Bob know of what happened, and Marilyn went up there and discussed it with the detective, he was gone. And we haven't seen him or heard from him since. Any questions, Bob, or Marilyn obviously can.
Yes.
We can get his input.
Thank you, Counselor.
As Mr. Cipolletta said, this was part of the same investigation. This was one isolated incident where we identified a individual that was working as security/doorman. He interacted with our undercover detective on Shirley Ave. They walked to BK's, at which point the undercover detective waited outside. This individual went in the bar, came out, and handed the undercover detective a desired amount of narcotics. There was one incident. There was one buy throughout the investigation at this particular establishment and nothing else.
Was it your impression that he kept his drugs stored inside the bar?
I don't know if he had drugs stored inside the bar, if he was getting them from somebody else, could have been another employee or a customer, or where he got it. We have no information on where the drugs came from, just the fact.
That he didn't walk back into the bar and then come out with?
Correct.
Very good. Any questions?
I would just like to, when you enter these establishments, I don't know if any of the owners were on the premises, are they cooperative when you do approach them and tell them what's going on?
Well, we typically don't enter the establishments to talk about the facts of the case. In this particular incident, Ms. Sims had come into the police station, sat with me after the incident had took place, and I explained the fact pattern and what had transpired. We typically don't enter the establishments and have any conversation regarding the investigation with anybody who works there or any of the owners. It's typically just not something we do.
Okay, but she was cooperative when she came to see you?
Yes, very. I've known Ms. Sims for quite some time. She's very cooperative and was,
I mean, they're willing to work with you?
Absolutely, yep.
Okay.
So, isolated incident again. Best of your knowledge, there was no knowledge that the owners knew the defendant?
No.
So I guess, we can come up and ask a lot of questions, or we can make a motion. I know people have been here a long time. I personally don't have any questions, but probably going to hear the same type of feedback. Doesn't happen often. If it doesn't happen ever, I don't see this, the owners here often or ever, personally. But I'm thinking maybe make the same type of motion with Linda you made same to Sammy's Patio, 6 months probation. We pull back to 12 a.m. if we find any, any violations to the liquor license. I'll make a motion, and, or if you want to speak.
Well, I mean, my only thing is that I see the difference between what happened at Sammy's and what happened at BK's. I see Sammy's as being more egregious. I mean, you have more sales, you have less attention. So if the standard is 6 months for Sammy's, I would think that I would be in favor of probably something less than that for BK's, just based upon the level of involvement.
Yeah.
I agree with you. I feel very differently about BK's, and again, you know, it's hard, as you said, when you're from Revere, you know all the families. I know the type of people they are. I don't think this is something that they want in their establishment.
Yeah.
I have a hard time placing probation on them, only because that is part of their record. And I really don't think this is something they would ever want to happen there. So I would like to make a substitute motion that we place that on file. And should another incident happen, we will bring it up, and that will be part of the next case. You know, that would be how I feel about this particular establishment. As the Commissioner said, they're two different places. Sammy's is a very different, several times, you know, I just hope they keep a closer watch, and I think they have, I think they will. So I'm gonna make a substitute motion. I guess there's two, is there two motions on the floor now?
There is one to put them on probation for a 6-month period with one, so basically the Sammy's thing is the motion now, to do that same thing. So if you'd like to put a substitute motion, you could put a motion for less time, or put a motion in for putting it on file.
I would personally rather put it on file. The only reason I'm saying is putting it on file because we're coming into the summer months and things are going to happen. It's the nature of the business. So should there be a fight or something go on in that establishment, they are going to be rolled back till 12 o'clock. I think personally for this business it's a little unfair. I think they have a hold on their business. I think they will keep a close eye. So I'm going to stick with my motion that we place this on file. Should another incident happen, we will address this one again, and we'll go with both of them. That's my substitute motion.
Very good. So right now we have a substitute motion to place this matter on file with the proviso that if some other license incident violation were to occur, we would bring you back in and hold both of these matters, a hearing on both of these matters, and consider them as one incident going forward. So you'd be subject to punishment on both of these incidents going forward. But at the moment, what it'll be is that you'll just be on a probationary period. And how long would you like that period to be? We're gonna...
Oh, I don't want to put any probation.
Okay, so we're just gonna place the matter on file.
I'm going to place it on file, and then that will be part of the record of another incident happening. So if an incident happens, it means you've had two in the last 6 months. Yeah. That's how I'm looking at it. I would like to place it on file.
Well, I'm just going to, I'd like to say, I understand there's a different situation. I get it. Unfortunately, it happened, so I'm just going to stick with my motion. Again, if something happens, it's going to come in front of the board regardless. Doesn't mean we're going to, penalize anyone, but I think we're going to stay, I'm going to
Very good.
Stay across the board with the 6-month probation.
Very good. I am going to vote to also place the matter on file with the proviso that if there is another incident, that we will revisit this. So the matter of BK's RK&E Corporation with relative to the possible violations of the license regulation, we're going to place that matter on file. Thank you, Sergeant.
Thank you, Mr. Mr. Chairman, would the commission like to briefly address the incident that was the intervening incident?
Yes, we would. I mean, while we're here, we might as well, before we move to the next matter, we should address the issue regarding the pool table.
No, I think there was a,
I'm referring to the
well,
incident
maybe
where...
maybe we're not going to address that one. It's not on the agenda, unfortunately. There was a
Well-
little altercation.
Yes, well, I mean, the altercation was a result of a fight that occurred, and there was some involvement with the pool table, which resulted in us coming to the realization that there wasn't a license for the pool table. So now we're here for the license for the pool table. But
Okay.
in talking about the license for the pool
The
table,
fighting was there. Right.
we need to talk about how we're going to secure the sticks, what's the story with the balls, what happened at this other thing, because to give you a license for a pool table when it shows you can't really control a pool table doesn't really make a lot of sense to me, so let's hear
So
about it.
I'll give you the summary of what happened on that night. And as the commission will recall, when we were last before you, the establishment was given a similar admonition that were there to be an intervening complaint, that the hours would be rolled back. This was the intervening action or the intervening complaint. The hours were rolled back, and they have already been penalized. The facts of that incident are that Bob and Marilyn had put into place a policy where they would close the doors, not close the establishment, but not let any other patrons in after 12:30. The reason being that other surrounding jurisdictions, Lynn, maybe Malden, had earlier closing dates, closing times. They were receiving people who were coming from those places, dashing to get to Revere Beach, to jump on the extra hour and a half. So on this particular night, the doorman, and Bob has this on his surveillance camera and has downloaded it to the computer. The doorman closed the door at 12:30. No other people allowed entry after 12:30. You can leave, but you can't come in. That's the cutoff time. And it's posted. And two individuals got to the door, and they were not fit to be let in. The doorman advised them the same. They were not let in. The door was locked on them, and they were outside. The camera shows that they pulled, there was those doors like this. They pulled it open. They forced the door open. They actually broke into the place. Rushed by the doorman, and they were inside. They became embroiled in some sort of a disagreement with two people who were in the establishment. The doorman intervened. The bartender, who was the only other male employee on duty at that time, called 911. He was not able to back up the doorman. Some stools were knocked over. A light was broken around the pool table. The police came. Eventually, when 911 released him, the bartender was able to go and provide backup to the doorman, the security person. They separated the individuals. The police arrested the two individuals who had gained access by breaking the door. I'm sure their criminal complaint is still this criminal charge is still pending. We actually have a bill for restitution for the damage they did in the place. And this was a case where they were trying to do the right thing, and they became a victim of trying their attempts to stop what had been progressively getting worse, with more people coming, with more alcohol in them, and then trying to get into their place and causing trouble. Totally beyond their control. I think their actions were appropriate. They didn't try to hide it. They called 911. Police came, arrested the two perpetrators, and they're gone.
Very good. Thank you, Counselor. Do you have any questions, Commissioner?
I don't know what he's standing there with his,
He wants to show off his new computer, I think.
I think he's got a movie or something.
you wanna
there.
show
I
us
don't-
some video?
I don't know what-
I just like the doorman, actually, I think.
Okay, sure, we'll look at it.
Amazing job.
Take a
tonight
peek.
In
This is rated G, right? Is it rated G?
Floor, I saw the pictures.
Well, this one gentleman who did the door also picked up bar stools, drove them across the road. I mean, it was an animal, this gentleman, it was a complete animal.
Yeah, no, I get it, man. I understand what you deal with
All
down
I'm
there.
trying to say to you is that this doorman, who is 3 months doing this now, was by himself, and the bartender, who's also doing it on weekends, came out, but then he went back to make a phone call to 911, was on the phone. The whole incident took a total of 3.5 minutes. But I'm sure to them it felt like an hour in there, because this one guy, you see him standing at the door most of the time, doesn't even want to go in to fight. When he goes in, he never goes in there, everybody's throwing things.
So the guy with the hat who just walked off screen is the one who goes in and starts, yeah.
Down here, yeah. The other guy ran in, and one of the guys hit him, and he fell to the ground, never got up.
Oh, is that what happened to him? I'm waiting for him to come back out. Oh,
He got out, he did get up and go up, but he just got hit once, and the guy, the poor guy should have gone in.
So what do we vote?
so like I say, the nature of the business that you're in, these are very hard to control, these things.
Put your mic on.
Someone pulls it, you lock the door. Someone pulls it, open the lock that you try to keep them out with. There's not much more.
Well, that's why I think I'm a little sympathetic to this business. I don't know why people would want to be in it, because there are incidents that, I've been out and I've seen two friends sitting at a bar and best of buddies, and next thing they're rolling on the floor, and it's, it's a tough business, and I can see there, I have to be honest with you, there, I don't know what else you could have done.
And this one doorman stayed between these two, and I give him a lot of credit because he really put himself out there while they're going at it with no one getting in. A couple of customers tried to help him, but for the most part, this guy really, and he never threw a punch. He just tried to keep them apart.
Thank you. I think what I would like to see, or at least what I would think, is that perhaps if we could remove the sticks, pick a time, 11:30 or midnight. I think when you leave them there at closing time, that's kind of inviting the people who are probably at their most intoxicated to grab stuff. And so I would be, asking that maybe you put the sticks away prior to closing time, prior to midnight or something like that. Is that something that you think would work?
On weekends, we close the tables down. Friday, Saturday, we try to shut them down around 12:30, 1:45. People don't play anymore because that's just recipe for disaster. People backing up in the
That's what I'm saying, so that's why I'm thinking as it gets late, maybe we stop playing a little bit, you know, just so we don't have that.
A big part of our business, late night, is pool players, and on the average, they're guys in their 50s, 60s, or, you know, just in 4, 6, 8 guys come in, they're playing pool, and they want.
Okay, no, I mean, I understand, I understand.
Speaking into the mic, they
You
can.
have them sticks behind the bar, and you, when you're playing, you ask for one, when you're done, you give it back. So that way there's nothing laying around outside. I don't know, now,
Yeah, I mean, I suppose that could be something that would work, I don't know how you
Manage
feel
the
about it.
sticks, yeah, manage the sticks is fine.
So, what would that motion look like? Would we make a motion to have the sticks managed by the bartender, and when the game is not in use, the sticks are behind the bar?
you know, we could set the rack on the windowsill, or maybe so that you wouldn't even see them actually from the room. It's kind of like when we used to have darts. We used to give you a license, you get a set of darts to play, you get the darts back when we're done.
Very good, I mean, I wouldn't have a problem with that. Would you be able to, So I guess what I would do is I would make a motion to approve your license for a pool table, contingent on the sticks being managed by the bartender, and when the pool table is not in use, the sticks are behind the bar. Is there a second for that motion?
I'll second the motion.
I'm going to be recorded as being present.
Very good. The motion to approve the pool table for RK&E Corporation is approved. The application for a pool table license to be exercised at 264 Ocean Avenue for 2 pool tables. The pool tables are contingent on the sticks being maintained by the bartender when the tables are not in use. Thank you very
And
much.
Commissioner, as far as the altercation that happened, I would have no findings on that, only because I think the business did the right thing. I think it was out of their control. So on the fight between them, well, again,
Okay,
no
so,
finding.
yes, so on the hearing into possible violations of the license regulations stemming from alleged violations of Massachusetts Law, General Law, Chapter 94C, as well as other violations resulting from a fight between patrons that caused injury and property damage, there is no finding on that. The next item is item number 16. This is William J. Chamness, DBA Chamness Bar and Grill, 113 Shirley Avenue, William Chamness, manager. This is a hearing into possible violations of license regulations stemming from alleged violation of Massachusetts General Law 94C. This matter is also continued from our April meeting. Counselor?
Yes, sir.
Name and address for the record, and if you could state the nature of your business.
Yes, Mr. Chairman, be happy to. James Cipolletta, 385 Broadway, Revere, on behalf of the licensee. This is another one-off situation. I bet you that no commissioner could pick Bill Chamness out of a lineup, because I don't think you've ever seen him here. Not on any violation, not on any allegation of a violation. And this was an employee who was off duty on that night. Reading the police report is a little unclear, but it looks to me like he may have parked behind the establishment, gone to his car, gotten some product, sold it to the undercover. That's it.
That's it?
No, it's the officer has to say. Is he still here, the officer?
No, Officer
Yes, he
Pember.
is.
Oh, is he still here? Yes, Officer Pember, if you could address this, please.
Again, as Mr. Sippel has stated, isolated incident, one-time narcotics purchase from an employee. The undercover in this case was out front of the establishment, contacted this particular employee via telephone. The employee disappeared around the rear of the bar. We don't know if he went to a vehicle. We don't know if he went to the parking lot in the back door. We lost sight of him when he went in the back. But when he came out, he handed the undercover detective a desired amount of narcotics.
Was there any indication that the management was involved in any of this stuff? Or?
We have no indication that anybody else was involved except the individual who we purchased the narcotics from.
Very good. Do you have any questions?
No, I have no questions.
Fellow Commissioner, do you have any questions?
I have no questions. I think
Well,
we're in the
it
same
always
spot we
kinda
were.
seems the same.
Very good, thank you, Sergeant. I don't have any other questions. I mean, I know Mr. Chamness, and I know he runs a good business over there. I know, since I've been here, I haven't seen him, so I will willing to accept this as a one-time event. Is there a?
I think at this time, since no one else has gotten a suspension, maybe we should suspend his license for 9 days. No, I've never met Mr. Chambers, but I just figured he seems a little nervous. 9 days
Yes, I think-
might,
I think we'll put the matter on, would you like to put the matter on file for?
Yeah, I'll make a motion to put the matter on file, similar to what we did with the beacon.
Very good. So
Okay.
this matter will be placed on
Okay.
file for, just be placed on file. And if there is another incident, you'll be called before us, and we'll hold both incidents against you. Be perfectly frank. Okay?
I'll second that motion.
Very good. So that's it. The matter is placed on file. Thank you very much.
I see that couple back. Is there a reason they came back in the back of the room for the common vic license? No, I didn't say, I mean, we can go for it. I mean, there's no license there. But,
Is there something that we can do for you?
Yes, I have a question.
I want you to step up.
About this guy, this is the license the guy, he gave it to me. And this one,
well, I don't think we have a problem voting for the license. I don't know. But the thing is, we're just trying to protect you. Can you speak into the mic, please? These are the licenses that are there, but, they're saying that they may come in and take all your equipment out.
I have the receipt in here. I think this is something they gotta fix with the other guy on the court. If they wanna get those equipment, I think they're gonna have a letter, or an appointment, they're gonna come to take it.
Well, again,
Because
I'm not gonna get involved in the legal act. If there's a lawsuit, you came here for common victual license.
Yep.
And all we can do is approve or deny that license.
Yep.
And you have all the inspectional services have inspected everything. So moving forward, I feel very bad. I think you might be getting into a mess here. But we have one thing here, we can give you the license.
Yep.
I don't know if I were you, if I would want to go through it. If what he says is correct, they're gonna come and take all the equipment. But
But
I
we
can't.
have a receipt for the equipment that we're supposed to vote.
I
I think-
appreciate that, but I
Yeah.
don't think he had the right to give that to you because he didn't own it.
Yeah, but on the case of that, if they come in, I know they gotta come in with one police officer to take that, and they can close the place, the policeman or whatever, and then we can continue about it.
Well, sir, I have no problem. It's up to my colleagues. It's a common victual license. I don't have a
Yeah,
problem
that's what
issuing
I'm
a
saying, we
license.
can get the license and.
Because the problem is between them,
Yeah.
nothing, not us.
Well, they're just saying they're gonna come in and take all the equipment.
So
If
Chris,
I open-
But if we have the sale receipt,
That's not our problem.
It's not
Excellent.
our problem.
Do you want to approve it?
I have no problem approving
Okay,
it.
very good.
I think you're taking,
A risk.
A risk, right.
exactly.
But I have.
So
no-
while if they fix it tomorrow, so we're gonna be able to open as soon as they fix it, so.
Well, you can, as soon as you have a victualer's license and you have all the approvals, you can
And the-
open. The guy
the-
may come tomorrow and take all your stuff.
Exactly.
But,
That's
we
up to
can't
you.
do anything about that.
Yep.
so,
And you'll have no recourse through this board.
That's what I'm saying, if I open like a week, they're gonna come to take the stuff, they're gonna come with the policeman.
They have to get
So
an
we're
order-
gonna-
order.
a note,
All
so
right,
we good
well, I'll
with
tell you
that.
what, here's what we're gonna do. We have a motion to approve it. The motion has been seconded. And
Who
there,
made the motion? I didn't hear a
I
motion.
didn't make a motion.
oh, you didn't make a motion. I thought there was a motion. That's
I'll make
okay.
a motion to approve.
I'll second the motion. I just want to say you made a good move waiting for the other guy to leave, so good job. Good luck, too.
Thank you.
All right.
Good luck. I hope it works out for you.
Okay, so, the application for transfer of a common victualer's license. Are there any proponents?
He left.
None?
He left.
Any opponents? They left. I understand what the opposition is. You understand what the opposition
I
is?
absolutely understand.
Very good. The application for a transfer of the common victuals license is approved. The application for La Meta Panica Grill, Inc., 63B, Revere Beach Boulevard. Daniel A. Lemus Alarcon, President and Manager, to transfer a common victuals license from Jennifer Cervantes and Edmund Lemus. Said license to be exercised at the same address. Requested hours to be 10 a.m. to 2 p.m., 10 a.m. to 2 a.m. There is no seating. Good luck.
Good luck.
Thank you.
I wish you luck.
Yeah. I like your persistency. Good.
Item number 18, Rockwell Realty Trust, 1380 North Shore Road, Jean Geary, owner. This is a requested appearance before the commission to express her concerns regarding the recent vote to increase parking lot fees. Your name and, Counselor, yes, sir.
Thank you, sir. Ira Novoselsky, 53D Hone Street in Revere, Ward 2 Counselor. Members of the commission, at the last Revere City Council meeting, the council voted for asking you to reconsider the fee that was issued to all the parking lots, licensed parking lots in the city, and suggesting a tiered system rather than a flat. In this particular case, I was contacted by Ms. Gary, and where she is a part-time parking lot as ordered by the Revere City Council. She's not a 24/7. So because she has two businesses on the lot, and you can't have two unless it's approved by the council, and it was. So they asked me to intervene somewhat to allow them to appear before you to ask a reconsideration. And I also ask, as I have discussed in the past, now do a tiered system. I have spoken to the chairman, and we have, thrown it around, nothing official, to do something tiered, whether it be lots, parking spaces 1 to 100, one fee, 101 to 250, another fee, and over 250, from 251 above, another fee. So that was one of my suggestions, and then the chairman suggested maybe two types of tiered systems, and it's just something to look at. I'd like you to hear these folks. We do have some other license holders here today, also to ask you, appealing to your decision to reassess your decision. So I'll leave it up to Ms. Gary and her family and her attorney to take it over from here, but that's my thoughts on it, and the council passed for you to reconsider this, and I hope you do, to some sort, and appease things so it's the price wasn't so high. So thank you.
Thank you, Councilor.
Good afternoon, James Lamana, 22 Breed Street, Lynn, Massachusetts. If I could approach the board, I'd prepare a written submission.
Thank you. Okay, yeah, this is the thing that I tried to show you.
I would suggest that my client is in a unique position because she's boxed in to a $4 a day cost. She's right next door to Wonderland. No one's going to park here if it's over $5. The fees that you established are $22,000. I believe she brought in $33,000 in profits last year. It's just not worth it for Mr. and Mrs. Gary to be in the parking business out of this fee schedule. Anything you want to add?
If they'd like me to, yes. Hi, thank you for seeing us today. I appreciate it. I'm Gina Gary, and I live in Salem, 138 Marlborough Road. And when I got the notice originally, I had got it on a Saturday, I actually thought it was a typo. And I called your secretary on Monday to confirm it. And I was quite honestly taken aback when I started to do my numbers, I know I've emailed all three of you to, kind of tell you where we are. I did actually have the opportunity to watch your meeting that was last month as well, and I did want to clear up a couple things just so that you are on board and understand. So we do have a church on the property, and the church, and I have their hours, they're only open at night, Monday through Friday, and Saturday as well at night, and on Sunday mornings. So when I had come, when the church was, I had already had a parking lot business running, because when we closed our nightclub, that was like the only income we were able to derive, was the parking lot income. And then when the church approached us about possibly leasing the building, it seemed like a really good fit, because the council said that we could still operate the parking lot because it's not in conflict in any way. So we're only geared to commuters. That's it. We're not travelers. So people don't park in my lot because they can't park overnight. They can't park for 7 days. That's not how we are. So, at 4, 5, 6 o'clock at night, everyone's kind of coming back from Boston and they're taking off. We do have some people, the counselor asked me if I know of any of the cars, if they are people from Revere, and I do know there's a few people that live in Revere that park there as well. And yes, we obviously have outside people coming in. But then, around that 6 o'clock hour, they're pretty much all gone, and the church comes in, and I want to say they open at 7. I'd have to look at the card again. 7 o'clock. And it's really not a conflict at all. A question was raised about parking on the street. And it's funny that was raised, because the Parishioners, I don't believe, do park on the street. If they do, I mean, I don't know because I'm not there at night, but if they do, I'd be happy to talk to the pastor about talking to them, because there's plenty of room in the lot for them to do that. There are cars that are parked on the street. It's a 2-hour parking limit, and it's people who want to beat the system. They don't want to park at Wonderland. They don't want to park in my place. And so I'm just trying to, I pay the taxes, I have to pay for plowing, I have to pay for repairs. Paying $365 a space, I wouldn't be able to do it, truthfully, because it wouldn't be worth it. I'd be in the hole by the time I needed to pay out my taxes and everything.
The idea behind this was that, parking is a commodity for the city, and there are a lot of people that are taking advantage of the situation in the city, and it's felt that the city needs to get, reimbursed for the inconvenience of the parking that it causes. I wouldn't be averse to a two-tier system, as the counselor mentioned, where we would have a commuter lot parking license, so to speak, where the lot would be for commuters. And then you would have another lot for park and fly. And I think that, from our perspective, park and fly is a much more intrusive operation. It's 24 hours. It is constantly in and out, and there's a lot of hassle with the neighbors and people complaining about stuff like that. Obviously, commuter lots, not so much. You're in, you're out.
That is true.
I mean, so in that regard, I wouldn't have a problem with a two-tiered system. But realistically, I mean, $4 to park seems to me to be almost ridiculously cheap. Not that I'm in the business of setting parking prices, but it seems to me to be that if there is a cost to be passed on to the consumer, that is certainly one. And passing on a $1 cost a day doesn't seem to me to be unreasonable based upon what what is the market.
I would suggest that no one would park at the old Club Caravan if they were paying $6 when they could pay $5 in the garage. So she is boxed in as opposed to other.
I understand.
The $4, it's a walk to get from.
I understand what you're saying. I'm not so sure that people really enjoy parking in that lot because they can't get out of it when they want to, as far as the MBTA lot. So there is a premium for not getting blocked in and be able to leave anytime you want. So I'm not so sure that you are forced to go below them. But that's not my business, not my place to tell you how to run your business.
I would like to speak on that, though,
Sure.
if that's okay. As you know, I took over the Caravan from my father many years ago. And years ago, we parked people for $3 a day. This is years ago. Because the Wonderland dog track was $4 a day. That's what they, so we were $3. You know,
Right.
you always try to undercut a little bit,
I
right?
understand.
So then, long before the parking garage went in, they went up to $5. And so we went up to $4, thinking, oh, they're $5, we're $4, you know? And by the way, when it was $3, our lot was full, or, you know, I don't want to say full, but you know what I mean, it's busy, right?
Right.
And we went up to $4, whew, people were gone. It's crazy. And so the only people I really kept was about 3 or 4 people who just, like you said, preferred coming in and out of my parking lot as opposed to in and out of the T. And that was before the garage. So I agree with you. It is kind of strange that, well, why wouldn't I charge $5? Why wouldn't I charge even money, you know? But it's because of my past experience. So in my thought process, I'd rather collect a little bit of the pie than really like cut my nose, spite my face kind of thing. So honestly, that's why I do it. And I don't, and I have to supplement my income. I have to. So the parking lot is a way for me to supplement and pay my bills. And I'm sure if you looked on record, I pay my taxes promptly. I've always paid my license fees promptly. Met Maggie when she came on. But you never have a problem with me, because I run a professional business. And, you know, I just feel like that it's very important for you to understand when you're trying to make a living, that's way, $365 a space is way too much.
I understand your position. And I sympathize with you. I know it's not easy.
Mr. and Mrs. Gary's son is at Regis, and the vote at your last meeting was a July 1st, $22,000 bill. That is probably pretty darn close to a Regis bill, so you can understand why
Oh, no, I
this
understand
order
completely.
and
This,
and
you know-
opening this bill might be, cause more heart palpitations than getting your
I
tuition.
can appreciate that. I'm paying for my grandson to go to Pingree. Over 60,000. So I can tell you, I know what the expense is. But first of all, you know, I can't even give you a figure here. Pay $25 a spot now. Well, 50. Divided by 365 days a year. I can't even get you a percentage on that. That's how little the fee is. And, you know, I've heard a lot of talk about, you know, hurting the small person, hurting the small person that's getting hurt in this city right now, and I'm not going after any in particular person, but the small person is going to work making $40,000, $50,000 a year, okay? The traffic in our city, commuter time, adds another hour onto their day with the parking lots we have. And they're saying the small person. I can tell you, there are small people with parking lots. They don't have commercial licenses, so they probably shouldn't be parking. The people that do have licenses, I wouldn't call them the little people we're hurting, okay? The other thing with you, I've never brought it up, but as far as Wonderland Dog Track, why they don't have a license? Because the city of Revere, under Mayor Tom Ambrosino, made a deal that the MBTA would not build unless we stopped commuter parking in the area. That's how a Wonderland Dog Track lost their license, okay? And believe me, they're the biggest violator in our city. I am in no way protecting them, but that's why the agreement was no more commuting. You were one of them that kept it, and no one ever said a word because you were a small business, okay, but you're still renting out your business. My thing for the city of Revere, I took a vote, there was a motion put up here, I took a vote, $365, I think $1 a parking spot. I don't find that out of line. I really don't, $1, I don't. And your parking lot, me truthfully, I wouldn't park in MBTA. I wouldn't take that twirl and go up. So I think you should go up $5. I mean, the area, it's summer, the area, it does call for you know, that $5 fee. I think it's very low, you know, parking. You go in Boston, you know, they're paying $28 my sister paid to park last week. So I took a vote. I did do my homework. I checked, we only have 7 commercial licenses in the city. I did do my homework. I still don't think $1 a space is enough, not for the inconvenience. I live near the, not near the parking lots, but I'm up off Revere Street. There are lots, unlike you, that have 24-hour parking. You can hear vans going all night, you hear trucks going all night. They take Sagamore Hill, which is highly residential, all night long. They have cars in there that are slamming the doors, banging, along with, we have Lolito there that breaks at 2 o'clock in the morning, we have it. And so I think for the inconvenience of the residents of the city, I work for the residents of the city, and certainly want to help the businesses who pay the taxes as you do. And I do want to say and disclose I was a very dear friend of your dad's. He was a wonderful guy. As a matter of fact, I worked at the track for many years when he had his dogs there. So it's very hard for me. I think everybody that comes here, when you live in the city, you know everybody and they're good people. I'm not out to hurt anybody. I still don't feel that $1 is a lot of money. I don't think that for the inconvenience the city's putting up with, the wear and tear. People are blaming the city. They blame the mayor, the traffic, the council gets taken back because of the traffic. You know, it's mostly commuters. They're going to our beach. They're coming from Swampscott. They're coming here parking. They're going to Wonderland. Best thing they can do is move the MBTA into Lynn.
As lawyer for Lynn, I would love that. I'm the lawyer for the License Commission for Lynn.
There you go. I'll speak
if
for
you
you.
could make that happen.
And that would be the best thing that could happen if that, but I suppose not in our lifetime, won't see it. They still keep talking about it, but I think it should. I sympathize, I do. I do not feel that you personally can't go up $1 on your parking, $5. I really don't. I think you got a nice spot there. You're right near the MBTA. And I again, the calls I got from this vote, which one of my commissioners made the motion, and I put a lot of work into it. I could not believe the response from the city of Revere. Thank you. Mostly they don't want parking spots, and we know who the trouble person is. We're not hiding that. That's in court. That MBTA, the deal was made. There should not be commuter parking. There was also another one on the other side on Ocean Ave, and we won't go there. But he's also parking. MBTA, we signed an agreement with the city of Revere that we would not do that.
On Saturday and Sunday, you would be requiring to pay $1 per space, 61 spaces, with no ability to rent. On the average day, they get 30 spaces. So 30 of those spaces for 365 days a year, we've wasted money. Even if you could go up to $5 and not lose one customer, she'll be out of business. And what's going to happen, speaking from the city of Lynn attorney hat, people are going to be parking on the streets of Revere when there's overflow parking at Wonderland. Right now, you have an overflow parking space for people that don't want to be inconvenienced with driving down 5 floors to get out of the building. It's much easier to get out. But I can assure you, if it goes up to $5 walking in inclement weather, you may have 5 vehicles there on a snowstorm or a rainstorm, because if you park in the garage, you don't get wet. You can get right out to the platform. So her business will not be able to survive.
I sympathize with the business people, I will tell you, but I guess I'm more sympathetic to the residents of the city.
Well, let me ask you a quick question. Now, the previous space price was $25 a space for the year.
Correct.
Which broken out over 365 days is a few pennies a day.
We're not open 365, but okay.
But regardless, the license is good for 365.
Not this one.
She's not allowed to park on Saturday, Sunday, and nights.
I'm not. Only Monday through Friday, 6 to 6.
Wait, excuse me, I didn't see that on your license.
Yeah, I only have a 6 to 6, 6 a.m. to 6 p.m., Monday through Friday.
It's not on your license. When you did get it, that's what it was, but over the years being approved, the hours were never put on.
Excuse me, Commissioners. That was ordered by the Revere City Council,
What?
when they gave them a special permit to do it. They ordered those hours.
What,
Ma'am.
the city council for her,
For her.
right. The
They-
other ones are 24/7.
Yes, mine.
We're not talking about the other ones. Right now, we're talking about this young
Right.
lady,
Is
okay?
this the only one you're concerned with, Counselor?
Well, yeah, basically, yes. The others have a business and they're commercial. This is a part-time parking lot. It's not a full-time lot.
Counselor.
And $1 a day doesn't fit in her case.
But you know, the city's moving forward. Is this?
I
what
can
we have-
understand that, but here you have a small business person that you're going to be putting out of business. You are going to be putting her out of business. Now, let me
Well,
finish,
Counselor,
okay?
Counselor, excuse me, let me finish what I have to say. How
But
are
you're
you gonna
beating on her.
But are you going to discriminate and say, this parking lot, we're going to charge cheaper money, the other parking lot, we're going to go up on?
They're a different kind of lot.
I don't think so.
They're a different kind of lot. This
If
is a
it's a commercial
commercial,
license.
this is not,
It's a commercial license.
this is a commuter lot,
But it's
just
a
like the guy on
commercial
Ocean
license.
Ave. The other ones, and, you know, I work, you know, I know they have a business, you know, and they're gonna put up their own fight, you know, for their fee. But for this young lady, they are the small person that I was talking about, not the commuters of small person.
Well, I agree.
This is the small
When you say
business
it's-
person that I'm dealing
You're
with.
saying she's a small person. Okay, she's a small person in the number of cars she has. She's got a multi-million-dollar business there.
She doesn't
I
have
love that
a,
land.
she doesn't have a multi-million dollar.
Caravan?
Where are your numbers?
What would you sell that land for?
It's not, that has nothing to do with it. What are you gonna sell it for?
We don't own all that property.
They are leasing their property to a church,
Right.
part-time.
Right.
And the time that she has available, she is using it as a parking lot, which, and I agree, the 60 spaces that she has, or 61 that she has, aren't full all the time, and I talked to her about that. But even though you folks are looking at it that way, there's the potential
Well, we can go
of
by
having
the
the
license.
60.
She can cut
Okay?
it down.
She can, and I told her that, and I
can
told her
cut it
that.
down.
But even if she cuts it down, you know, say to 30 spaces, half the amount, okay? You still want her on a part-time basis that the city is forcing her into a part-time basis, based on the city council votes that they had when she first applied. The city council, the city of Revere is cutting her back part-time to
The
5
license
days a
doesn't
week.
read it. The
5 days,
license doesn't read it.
come see the special permit that she was issued. Come,
Doesn't read it.
go to the city council. That's the only reason she came to you. It's the only reason she came to you, because she got the special permit from the Revere City Council for part-time parking, not full-time parking. Because you're looking at it that way doesn't mean it's right.
I'm looking at my records. I
Your,
can only go
but
by my records.
your records are not complete. If you get the special permit from the Revere City Clerk, they will give you a copy of it, and they will show it to you that it was only issued for part-time
Well, Counselor, we're
parking.
still- Okay, so we're
Part-time
still on
parking.
the,
There should be some kind of tiered package.
Well, I think it's unfair to the businessman that's paying probably 4 times the taxes she's paying.
They are
and
commercial.
they get the same thing.
They are a commercial corporate company. She is not.
No, I mean.
She is
that's-
not.
That's strictly a semantic argument, Counselor, but,
Why is it semantics, sir?
well, because she is a corporation, she's a company, she's making money, so that puts her in the same category
No,
as
it
every
doesn't.
other company.
They're-
She's a company,
They're
she's
dealing with,
licensed by the
$1
city.
million companies. She's a small fish in a big pond.
Charges $12.10. I would respectfully say that there's no city in the Commonwealth that charges $365 a day for parking.
And there's no one that close to the airport either, Counselor.
Chelsea charges.
No,
Chelsea,
they on the BTA or the beach.
they don't have the proximity, Counselor. What
Yes,
would you think would be a reasonable situation for you? Obviously, $25 is a ridiculously low fee.
Well, you know, when I heard that it was going up, initially, I told you I thought it was a typo, and I thought it was supposed to be $35 a space. And I was like, well, you know, inflation, everything goes up. That was initially my thought. I know that there's been a lot of numbers, different things floating around in the past. And so, you know, I was like, oh, I I could pay $35, and then I had said to my attorney, I could pay $50 a space, and that's going up 100%. And I thought, okay, that's reasonable. Like, you know, it is what it is. And I understood that. I would like to say one thing more in my defense as well.
Sure.
All these commuters do come into Revere, you're absolutely right, and you don't want them going through your streets, and I understand that. I'm sure it's a hardship for people that live in Revere. Walter lives in Revere as well. So he understands trying to get from Salem to Revere, or whatever. The T does fill up once in a while, full. So the only other place legally for them to park remotely close is me. And that prevents those people from driving further down the line to try to get to another T-stop, because they're not going to pay whatever pricing is in Boston to park their car. So I actually thought I was kind of helping the city. I mean, I know maybe you guys think that's weird.
There is another lot right on the other side of the.
There is, and I did. I checked them out. So him and I think it's a guy that owns it. We're actually kind of, I hate to say it, but we're helping you, because not you, but the city, because now they don't have to go further into your city, and that's the kind of thing that I would think would be a benefit. So, and I am only licensed from 6 a.m. to 6 p.m. Monday through Friday.
Make that a record, please, Maggie.
I believe it is on my license. My license is hanging.
We don't have it.
Okay. Just so you know, my license is hanging at the property, but, you know, I believe it does say 6 a.m., okay? So that's why I feel like I stand alone. Out of the other 6, I thought there was only 6, but the other parking lots, I stand alone.
As you can see from the prices in my memo, you see $13, $14, $15. The hardship for them from going 14 to 15 is not, that is not a market. The market's not going to kill that. The market will kill this by going to 4 to 5, or even trying to go 4 to 6. That'll never happen. No one's going to pay 6.
No. Never have it.
You're taking, basically, the property values here, it amounts to a regulatory taking by going from $25 to $365 a day. She's in the middle of a lease that she can't get out of. The basis of her ability to financially support her family is the parking lot and the lease payments. You're wiping away more than half of her income because
Correct.
it's not worth her to be in this business.
Well, no one is looking to do that, Counselor, but what we are looking to do is, as you said, you know, we want to keep the people off the streets, the commuter lots, and we want to make sure that when there is parking, that the people are, it's mitigated properly, okay?
Yeah.
So I don't have an axe to grind with you or anyone else for that matter. I think.
don't think it's a personal matter. I really don't. I think it's a city. The mayor is on board. The mayor has asked us to look at this, and we're just doing our job. We're not picking one person against the other. I think it's across the board myself, but I'd like to hear from the other.
Okay, sure. Well, thank you very much, and we'll get back to your particular thing, but let's talk about the whole thing in general. Thank you.
Jim Marcotte from Select Parking. We operate at 60 VFW Parkway. And I'd like to start this conversation by saying I agree with you. My first license I got from the city of Revere was at Thrifty, and it was 25 years ago, and it was $25 a space. I'm 100% in agreement that it needs to increase. I agree that they're in a different position than the airport parking fly companies are in. But there's so many intertwining issues here, from people that operate businesses in Revere, from people that are storing cars and their businesses are in Boston. The biggest problem with Wonderland is not the airport parking piece. It's the storage of rental cars at the thousands and jamming that lot. And those are the truck doors that are opening. Those are the people that are making noise. They're causing the problem. And guess what? They're not paying anything today. So when you look at the dollar a day, I just want to let you know and put that into comparison of our other expenses. That will be the second largest expense that we have to incur next to our payroll. Our license is now going to go to $100,000 a year. That makes no sense. What should have happened over the last 25 years is there should have been some incremental increase on the parking license fee and not jam it down the throat of the airport parking operators now that are employing people in the city of Revere. Most of my employees are from the city of Revere. The people that are coming into our city of Revere are coming from Connecticut. They're coming from New Hampshire. They're viewing the city. They see how beautiful it is. They go to the 99 to go to have lunch after they come back from the airport. So don't look at all the commuters and the people that are coming into the city as necessarily a bad thing. You should be welcoming people into the city of Revere to see how it's changed, to see how it's becoming beautiful, to see how there's so many things going on and what the city of Revere has to offer. Why are we taking the approach that we don't want people coming into our city? That's exactly what we want. I understand, and it's beautiful, and things have changed. Look at what's happening. Look at the progression in the city of Revere. What you can't do is you can't go and say, let me impose a $100,000 license fee just because we happen to be successful, business is going in the right direction. I'm in agreement, we need an increase in the fee. That makes all the sense in the world. I'm also in agreement that they're in a different boat than us because they're not in the business where people are flying or coming from Connecticut, spending, thousands of dollars on airfare and hotels, and they're going on a trip. The parking in their mind is an expense, and we can only go up so far as well before they look at it and say, well, Chelsea's at 18, the airport's at, the long-term lot's $24. So there is some cap to what we can charge as well. So if I could raise my rate to 15, 16, or 17, I would do it on my own without having a fee imposed on me. I would want to do that for my own profit. So what I think should be done is maybe you should get a group of the operators together to meet with the License Commission and let us give you some advice on what we think we can afford, because the city is entitled to more than $25 a space. But the city is not entitled to get it all like this. I think it's very, very unfair, and it would be my payroll first, and this fee would be my second largest expense. It would be more than the rent I'm paying for the spaces that I'm in. So it makes no sense. I think what you should do is get a group of people together, we'll sit down and talk to you, and we'll come up with a fee structure that makes sense so the city benefits and we don't get killed.
Thank you.
Hi guys, how are you? Good evening. Scott Hops with Comfort Inn Suites in Revere, 85 American Legion Highway. I guess I'd echo what Jim said. I agree. There needs to be an increase, but going from 25 to 365, there's no other aspect of our business that's increasing by that percentage year over year in 1 year. It's a radical shift. Not as large for us as for some of the other operators, I mean, in terms of the scale of our business, but in addition of, for us, we're going from $2,000 to $30,000. It completely changes the economics of what we're doing, and I would agree. Let's figure out a tiered system that's reasonable over a certain number of years. To try and make a 25-year correction in 1 year just puts an incredible undue burden on the businesses that are operating right now. So, yeah, I would love to be part of that discussion and conversation of how we get to something reasonable without breaking the backs of the current operators. So, thank you.
Thank you very much, sir. Is there anybody else that would like to speak on this matter? Okay. Well, I think we have heard from the parking lot owners, and I sympathize with your position, and I see that maybe we might want to take some of this up for reconsideration. I would be interested in developing a two-tier parking system with a commuter lot being one license and park and fly being another. What those licenses would cost, I guess, is really the million-dollar question. So, I mean, I would not be averse to revisiting this, provided we were able to work out some kind of an arrangement with the parking lot owners. Is that something that my fellow colleagues would be interested in participating in?
I took a vote last month. I felt it was a good vote. I did my homework, and, you know, this is like any other increase we get. People come up, no one wants an increase. I don't want an increase in my taxes, but I got it. I got an increase in my water bill, you know, so there's nothing I can do. But I personally, you know, I'll listen to what you guys have to say, but I made my vote. I don't think $1 was a lot, but I'll listen to what my colleagues have to say.
Yeah, but, you know, Mr. Marcotte, you made a lot of sense, so appreciate your comments. You know, just to be on record, I didn't vote in favor of the sudden increase. I believe there should be an increase, but I think it was a little extreme. Being a business owner myself, if my office space was quadruple, 10 times, I'd be out of business, so I get it. And they are approved parking lot licenses, so we gave it to them, so you have a right to run a business over there. And I always like to understand what your business is all about, how your cost structure is, and bringing that up to maybe get together and have a discussion on what's a fair increase, I think, can go a lot of way with not only this situation, but additional other businesses that will want to come into the city. And as you mentioned, when they do come in here, they do spend money. So they're going to local restaurants, and I mean, it's more of a hassle than the money, but it's still, we are getting some benefits. And we have definitely been charging less than we should have. So as my fellow commissioner speaks over there, but anyway, I'm in favor of tabling this increase to, you know, some later date. If we can have a meeting or conversation, I have no problem spending the time meeting with the parking lot owners, because it is significant in my opinion. And there's only 7 of you, so there's not a large group. I'm in favor of that, but it depends on my fellow commissioners. Again, I did not vote for that increase. I want to be on record. And I won't vote it again if it was asked today. I just think it's too extreme. So that's where I stand.
So, Commissioner, you're talking at this point, not even going ahead with any increase until whenever we have meetings and we get together and we get...
Yeah, so because I didn't approve the increase from the beginning, not that I wouldn't, but I don't think we did our homework. And
But I think that even the license holders out here are agreeing we need an increase.
Yeah, but what's the right
ASAP.
number? What's the right number?
Well, I think
throw a
we can
number out
start
there.
with a number. Let's go.
All right, throw a number.
Excuse me,
We'll
Mr. Chairman.
midnight.
Can I, just a clarification?
Sure.
The renewal of these licenses doesn't happen until January 1st? Am I correct? So, right now,
November,
you
they
have...
pay for the license.
Excuse me?
November, they pay for the license.
Okay,
renewal.
so this is only
Gotta pay
May,
renewal.
so you have 3 or 4 months, or 5 months, so
Yes, it's
kick
not
it around.
scheduled to go into
To
any
kick it
effect
around.
until July 1 anyway. And then no one was to be actually assessed until they reapplied for the new license.
Right, so any new ones would take effect after July 1st,
Yes.
if they came in.
No.
If anybody new came in.
The increase would be, we would have the increase July 1st. When you apply, that's the increase. In other words, we would have voted for it.
I understand, so if anybody new
But
came
new-
in, say,
Well, we
July
wouldn't give out
15th,
any new-
if anybody new came in that wanted to do a lot or something, that's when this new
Yes,
amount would take
and
effect.
any renewal after July 1 would be
Right, so
subject
right
to-
now, all these folks here have until November.
Till November, till they
So
renew, if they renew.
you folks and they have until, say, September, October to kind of kick this around and make a decision.
Well, I guess what we could do is we could have we could send out some letters for a meeting to discuss this and see if we can come to some type of an agreement on a 2-tiered system with commuter lot being one price and park and fly being another. I think that, you know, I understand, I'm with my fellow commissioner here in the sense that I don't really see $1 a day as being a substantial increase. I understand that percentage-wise, it seems excessive, but really, $1 a day increase doesn't seem to.
Look at it from the profitability standpoint, not from the revenue standpoint. I agree with you, $1 is not a lot. But when you look at the profit margin after payroll, rent, the airport fees, the busing, you're probably taking 20 or 30 or 40% of our income, our
Yes,
profits away.
excuse me, just one thing. And I agree with you, you have a very large overhead. But the one on Ocean Ave, Caravan, they don't do health, they don't do payroll, they don't, I understand where you're coming from. So, see, I'm seeing both sides. I did investigate. You've got a huge overhead.
Right, I think what's
I think Mr. D'Amico has zero. He's there in the morning, 1 hour, he's done.
I think if you sat down with the group of operators, and we, similar to when I was approached by the city, and when I had Thrifty, I was running 2,000 cars, and they sat down and said, hey, Jim, Mr. Ambrosino, Mayor Ambrosino said, what do you think we can do? Because we want to build a fire station and a police station. And you know who built the fire station and the police station? I did. Because I agreed with the city to put a fee on all of our rental cars and all of our parking. And that's how they got the bond to build the new police station and the new fire station.
Along with George Colella. George Colella pushed that.
Correct, but the reason I went along with that was because it was a fee that we could pass on to the customer on top of the rate that we were charging, because everyone else was charging it. So Hertz was charging a concession fee to build their consolidated car rental facility at the airport, and it was just a pass-through. So I think the way that this can be attacked is by coming up with a fee that we can all live with, and then come up with some type of percentage that might be able to be added onto the transaction as a tax to the customer that has nothing to do with the licensing fee. It's got to do with a commission or some revenue structure that we can, if they're doing less revenue, they pay less of a commission. If we're doing more revenue, we do pay more of a commission. But I think if you got our input, you could get to the same end game by getting the money from the customer. Because when you say just pass it on to the customer, it's easier to pass on to the customer if it's a tax. Now, even a tax at $100,000 a year to me is a lot. Could I come up with a number today? Yeah, I could come up with a number, but I think it would make more sense to say, hey, let's look at inflation, let's look at what's happened over the last 15 or 20 years, and come up with a fee that makes sense for everybody. The city deserves more money than they're getting.
$25
No question.
a fee.
Listen,
Absolutely.
and I'm saying it's in between, I'm saying it's in between 25 and 365. Somewhere in between, that makes sense. Might be 75, might be 100 for me, 50 for her. I think we can come up with a structure that makes sense for all of us. If we took the time and came up with something that made sense and not just jam it down people's throats.
Well,
That's what I think.
Truthfully, I think you're the guy that's getting hurt the most. You have overhead. Others don't.
Right. Think about this, this board charges $3,000 for the Squire to open as a license. You're asking other businesses here to pay $100,000, in the case of the Club Caravan, $22,000 for a license. It's much better to be in the strip club business than to be in the parking lot business, under this fee structure.
Well, right, because
Well, I'm not going to pick on the strip clubs.
the dollar a day seems clean, seems like a normal, like what's 365? It's more than 25% of her revenue since she only operates 5 days a week, right? She's going,
Yeah,
$5,
it wasn't really
$1 a
based
day.
on the 5-day-a-week thing. It was more based on a 7-day, 24-hour operation.
And I would just ask, what's the precedent? What other commodity has gone up from $25 to $365? It's 1,300% increase.
Well, probably
in
none, but
one year.
there aren't many
So that-
commodities that haven't been raised in 25 years either.
So I would
mean,
just echo Jim's, there's some number in between.
Yes.
And I think there's probably a multi-year plan that looks very attractive to the city, that is very manageable for a number of different types of businesses that, we'd love to look at precedents. What are other cities? What are other airport destinations? I mean, let's look at comparable locations, and let's, I would just really love
No, I
to be
understand
part
that.
of that
Look, we
conversation.
want to be partners with people. We don't want to be jamming stuff down people's throat. We want to work with people and come to a reasonable consensus that we can all live with.
Yeah, I hear the dollar a day sounds very clean, sounds very reasonable when saying it, but when trying to incorporate it into the operation is a huge disruption. She may close, right? I mean,
You know what, I think, Dan Donahue, I'm the president.
Name and address for the record, please,
Sorry,
sir.
Dan Donahue, 11 Vinegar Hill, Saugus, Mass. I'm the president of Saunders Hotel Group, which owns the Revere Hotel, the Comfort Inn. Listen, all we ask is that since we have a little bit of time frame here between now and November-ish, let's sit down and talk about it and see what we can, come up with. We're not going to solve it tonight, right?
No, and I'm glad we're doing
City
this.
Hall's waiting to close. We're getting the message. 6:30.
Now we're paying overtime. Now we're
Yeah.
going to raise it $3.75. But we appreciate very much the idea that you're willing to listen. And I will tell you, we have a small little lot that we lease out. That this fee is like almost 30% higher than what we pay for the lot itself. So, you get it. So let's sit down, talk about it, and then take it from there.
Okay, well,
Thank you very much.
look, here's I think what we can probably live with is that we'll send each one of the license holders a letter asking you to attend a meeting. And I'd ask that when you come to this meeting, you come prepared with numbers that we can actually deal with, and then we can try and hammer something that everybody can live with. Does that sound like something we can agree on?
Yes, absolutely.
Is that, Maggie, can we do that?
What do you mean, can we do it? Why are you asking?
I want to make sure that we can do it.
Of course we can do it.
Very
Why
good.
can't we do it? You want to have a meeting?
There we go.
Oh, God, they'll put it on the taxes.
We'll have it at the Comfort Inn.
Very good. So what my motion would be is that we are going to send out letters to the license holders and have a summit meeting about the parking and see if we can come to some agreement on the fee structure, developing a two-tier system. Is there a second
I
on
will agree to
that?
that, but I will come to the meeting, and I want them to know, there is going to be an increase. The city deserves an increase.
Was that a motion?
And the inconvenience
motion?
of the commuters, what they put up with, an increase is in order, right?
And I think we agree with that.
I don't think I will attend the
I
meeting
think that
if
if
there
we
isn't
can,
an
I think
increase.
if the situation gets resolved with Wonderland, and
Wonderland
that's
is
way above, it's in
losing their
court, it's
shirt.
way.
Excuse me,
But
Jim,
it's
excuse
costing
me.
them an attorney fees for 2 years.
I would just,
They should have just paid the fee.
I would cut this short. We're good. I'm
Okay.
going to second the motion. Thank you.
Thank you very much. The motion is approved.
All right, let's
Thank you
get
very
going
much.
before they lock us in here.
Okay, we have some communication. A notice from the Massachusetts Alcohol Beverage Control Commission approving the application for a beer group, Inc., DBA Aladdin's Grill for malt wine restaurant license. Number 2, we have a notice from the Massachusetts Alcohol Beverage Control Commission of a return of no action for the application of Lazy Crab. DBA Lazy Crab Bar and Restaurant and Bar for a pledge of license. Late license renewals for 2018, common victular license. Vincent M. Loretano, DBA Pizza Kitchen, 76 Revere Beach Boulevard. Uncle Nino's Restaurant, Inc., 313 Park Avenue. And that is it for the applications. We have a motion to adjourn to the next meeting, which is
We have it on a Tuesday next month. I think we're going to change the,
June 19th, Tuesday, June 19th.
I'll second that
Please
motion.
note that the meeting will not be the third Wednesday of the month. It will be on a Tuesday next month. So it'll be Tuesday, June 19th. Is there a motion to
motion
adjourn?
to adjourn.
I'll second that adjourn.
The meeting is adjourned.
Do you